cast it right now. Hold on, I'm gonna go this room. I'm gonna be right back.
You're also in great powers. This is an ultra derecha conglomeration.
I love you. You're my homie. I'm gonna cast it right now. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's my Toronto main squeeze. Ooh, Ultra Derecha is live on YouTube now. Subscribe now to Clubhouse Live Podcast.
Yeah, I'm back, and Big Law's in the motherfucking building, and she cashed the ticket out.
Big Love in the house. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Free my nigga Tory. We screaming that till he's free.
Free my N-word Tory until my N-word is free. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
No, you could say nigga, just don't say nigger. That's when us blacks get mad. Don't say nigger. You can say nigger.
Hello?
I'll give you the pass if you want.
Ooh, you're gonna give me an N-word card for the day? Hello?
But you only use it by nigga with the A. You got the pass. I got you.
Ghost of Lou writes, F the J words. I'm Lou Sir from the grave, N-word. Let me up, N-word John. Wow, Lou is talking now. Lou wants to talk. Welcome to the show, Lou. Who are you?
John.
Welcome to the show. Ghost of Lou is here, making his first appearance live. Welcome, Ghost of Lou. Hello? Hello? Hello?
You gave him a mod?
Everybody gets a mod. Hello?
I was like, okay. I was like, he hates us.
Welcome to Clown House, everybody.
Danny's Wait.
What up, Danny?
Danny goes, I'm giving Danny. That's my friend.
I didn't want this mod at all, but
you're my friend. Excuse me, Danny? Wow. I thought we were friends. Like, seriously. Like, are you really gonna do this? We're in a room right now. Like, can we keep this to
okay, so I'm hoping this Ghost of Lou means Lou didn't die because I love Lou.
Lou's been dead for a long time. Like, seriously, I don't even know who he is, but I know that he's been crying about it, and I don't know who he is, but R.I.P. to Lou. Lou's been dead for at least a week or more. So, Danny, seriously.
Okay, so we all know music's a little weird, right? We all know that music's connected in some weird Aleister Crowley, like
music is good for people that are grieving with certain things. Like I use music as for grieving. It's real good. Yo, Danny, read the chat. This ghost guy's being a real bitch.
Okay, so Lou didn't do any snitching.
Bro, no, I think this guy's name. Oh, this guy, Ghost of Lou, is trying to be Lou. I'm understanding what's going on right now. I'm just taking it in.
Big Les finally catching on, everybody. This room is being live streamed to YouTube Live. Welcome, everybody. Invite people to the great powers, to the N-word, H-word, J-word, K-word. This is White Belts and Chillism, as well as Ultra Derecha. Super Combo Room. Bonus extra special YouTube footage.
And can you put Big Law and Danny's in the cut and we're fucking bitches up?
Ooh, ooh.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yo, that's crazy, Danny. I didn't even understand what you're saying.
Pookie in the house. Hey, Pookie McPookster.
So you know what? That could be Bussy. Because the way that okay, read snitches get ditches, karma's a bitch, Lou dead, and
Bussy. I don't read that. Know. Bussy doesn't follow me.
I think Bussy would say karma's a bitch, Lou dead.
Pookie McPookster. Hey, Pookie.
It's funny because I don't even know what's going on like that, but I do know Lou's dead. Like that's crazy, and that's he's friend. So he's like my nigga for life, my whitey for life, right?
Hello,
so, bro.
I just saw like a weird shit that came up that made me.
I pinged so many people in here. Music. I pinged everybody. Yo, Bing, come up. It's a safe place. I swear.
Yeah, ping everybody.
Guys, I think it's risky.
That's why people are showing up. Yo, Bing.
You like how I choose them being in this couple of
Oh yeah, Bing, this is my homie Music. He's a real one. He's rocking with my oh yeah, and I have merch on the way. As soon as I graduate, merch is on the way.
Oh yeah.
And Music gets free merch. I swear to God, you get free merch.
Dead ass.
T-shirts. Everyone's wearing them T-shirts. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. If you make T-shirts, oh my days, they're selling out.
But Bing, thank you, Bing. But I want you to say hi to Music. Music, say hi to Bing. You guys are both my friends. I want both my friends to say hi.
Bong bong. Welcome back, Pookie.
Yeah. But Bing, cash that ticket in when you want. But like, if you ever can't find me, I'll be probably over here because they kicked me out of rooms all day and all night. You know what I'm saying? Music does not what's it called? He doesn't judge me on how the other people judge me, how I treat them in the other rooms. You know what I'm saying? He's actually a real nigga. Oh, and I gave him the nigga.
I got street cred. Oh yeah. I'm a real N-word, baby. Free Tory, free my N-word. Free Tory, free my N-word.
And he still won't say it. I gave him the N-word tattoo. I love him like that. You know, he has respect.
Pookie McPookster in the house. Welcome to the White House. What no chillism?
Yo, Willow, what's up?
I wanted to say it. Say it.
Music. You can say nigga. Music. You can say nigga.
All right, man.
Yeah, you're good.
Why are you so where there's like 3-4 rooms streaming your fucking room that you're in and you talking? Like, what's the
Oh yeah, because I'm that bitch. Shout out to Music. He's that bitch. We those bitches. We them bitches. Oh yeah.
Free Tory. Free Tory.
I love you, Pookie. I love you, Pookie. I know we don't know each other like that, but you're gonna find out when I'm on here. I run shit.
Oh yeah.
Music does, but I get to the right.
Music makes me lose control. Hello?
I go to where the people don't like both. You don't like me, well, let's be friends because they don't like me too. And you know what? We tend to rise above all these motherfuckers at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah.
I think they love you a little bit though.
I find you to be
Bing has been my friend since 09. Pookie, you're a real one. Thank you. I find myself entertaining too, and I'm happy to entertain the people.
Fucking deep.
I swear to God. I feel like I'm on a comedian show sometimes because I dead ass get lit. Because I feel like Clubhouse, like, okay, Clubhouse, the club in my house. So I go buy my alcohol. I bring the club.
Ooh, she get the Clubhouse.
In my house. I use the app how you're supposed to be using. I use it accordingly. I get my liquor. I find a club on Clubhouse, and I'm in my fucking house. What did I do wrong besides get too turned like Miley? Come on, bro. Please put them in my motherfucking house on Clubhouse.
All right, point of order, moderators, point of order. Everybody invite your friends to the room. This is N-word, H-word, J-word, K-word. Invite.
Everybody ping up. I'm finna ping more people. Yeah, and we can all talk while we ping, but yeah, yo, Pookie, like, for real, like, I know we just started, to getting to know each other on here, but yeah, I never had no problem with you. What, did we ever fight before? I can never remember. I didn't fight you before, did I? I don't think I did. Me?
I never fight with
Hello?
Yeah, something. We never got no problems, I'm saying, but like,
yeah, and it's on this app. I only come here to fuck around. People get.
Did you ever see me annihilating somebody? Because I'm not that guy. You know?
Hello?
They started it first. My ex exposed all my nudes on here. I'll just tell you from now. Hello. I have to tell her now so she knows. My ex exposed all my nudes.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day, I was an escort for like 5 years of my life when I was young. Like I'm 30 now. It was in like 1920s, you know. So like they dug up a lot of shit, and I changed my life. I'm going so I don't even need to tell you guys what I do. At the end of the day, I still have more money than anybody, anyways. And it's not just from back in the days. I just still have more money regardless of what I do, right? I'm Canadian. But let me tell you something. The way they try to use it against me on this app, like they thought I was gonna run away from the app when all this happened. No, I'm still here, bitches. So just know, like being my friend, it comes with oh yeah, they say all that shit about my past, and there's nothing I can do about it besides like, fuck you, bitches. I don't know what to tell you. I'll fuck your dad, bitch. I'll get on that will. I don't know what else to say. I'm retired. What the fuck I'm finna do about it? I'm gonna keep swinging. See what I'm saying? Like, thank you.
No one's perfect, okay? No one's perfect.
Thank you. And you know what? They were so like they played the police card and figured out my shit. Like, good for you. I'm not gonna go find yours. I'm just gonna like let God deal with it. Which he will. He will. He will. Anyways, that's all I gotta tell you, Pookie. Like, don't worry, we could be friends. But just so you know, when it gets to that nitty gritty, they're gonna tell you, you know, Big Law's a prostitute whore. I'm a retired prostitute. Retired. Okay? Retired.
Big Law don't have the title. You just don't have.
You're all on OnlyFans, and I don't have an OnlyFans. You know what I'm saying that's how I get. Yo,
I think even Clubhouse. I think the reason why it got so popular was because of COVID, OnlyFans, all that stuff.
Did you know, being at the beginning of Clubhouse, they were fucking making businesses or some shit? Apparently, Clubhouse wasn't like a troll thing. I'm dead. I'm like, well,
I
I
heard,
joined.
yeah, there was networking and all that stuff in it. There was like networking and you had to get
Yeah,
invites and stuff.
yeah, and I joined fucking Clubhouse in like 2022 or something, January or 20. Like, there was no networking. It was just straight trolling. Like, my friend, my homie that trolls, like, brought me there to troll. You know what I'm saying? So I'm confused. I'm like, so when was it normal? Like, what, 2016? How long's the app been around for? Because 2021, it was straight fucking trolling. I know.
I remember
Because that's
when
when I joined.
21 Savage. When did 21 Savage and Kevin Hart and I remember like all the celebrities were on here at one point. So that must have been at that time.
Wait. Kevin Hart was on here?
I remember Kevin
What
Hart,
the
DJ
fuck?
Khaled and all that stuff.
I was
But
not here. I
that
was
must have been right at the beginning, like right at the beginning. Like
so
no, I remember
dead.
the reason I came on here was because Whack, Whack 100.
Oh yeah, yo, you don't remember? I used to you don't remember? He used to in the rooms back in the day.
Yeah.
And I'm beefing that fuck that clay face bitch. Now I'm beefing that nigga like he won't even let me up in the room. Sometimes if he's in there and he sees me, if I comment too much, he boots me. I swear to God. He doesn't want no smoke from me. Yeah.
I want to tell you, listen, people.
Just ask them what a field is, right? And they'll just shut down.
With the Logos as like Jesus literally existing. I'm saying this is something that this is an attribute of God that's being personified with Lady Wisdom, right? I'm saying that the Logos, the wisdom of God, was with him in the beginning, right? And then it
But I think
becomes
you understand. So I understood it because I'm saying that you are rejecting his Jesus, and now you're telling me, in other words, that yes, you are rejecting his Jesus in John 1:1.
He's saying it's not literally Jesus. There's a dual meaning where it's referring to the continuity of Jesus's ministry, but it's not saying Jesus is literally the word. That's what you're saying, right, Tenet?
yes, it's not like he's literally the
Yeah,
word, but
but
what I'm
that okay.
saying is
So this was wrong with that. In Psalms 33:6, it says the word is something which comes forth from the Father's mouth, and with His word comes the breath. Every
uh-huh.
single time there is a prophecy for the Messiah, especially in Isaiah, it talks about Yahweh, the Son, the Messiah, and the Spirit coming with him.
all of them, but not all, but a majority. And I live in Southern California. I see it all the time. So
What
that
about
is
the gay men,
why we
Alan?
bring this.
What about
What?
gay men? They're
Gay
generally
men,
very
well,
fit.
what
They're
about them?
very fit.
They have their own they have their own ways of dressing and appearance. And you see it a lot in LA, which is kind of confusing because actors, you can always tell an actor, he doesn't, well, a lot of actors are gay too, but that's beside the point. But there is a certain way of grooming that says, I'm gay. And this
But do
is
you
not,
do you attach a value? Yeah, so that's a bad
no,
thing.
go ahead. Ask the question.
No, I just wondered, like, do you have a value judgment about the way gay men, because gay men tend to be very fit as well. They might even be a fitter demographic than the heterosexual male category. But I'm just wondering, do you have a value attachment, um, you know, attached to, I guess, gay male fitness?
Um,
It's just interesting that you keep
you
mentioning
know
lesbian women.
what I'm about to say, I am not serious, but I am using the logic of the left. What you just said about gay men being fit dehumanizes fatty gay men. There are lots of fat gay men who are capable of loving homosexual relationships, and you just dehumanize them
Actually, that's
by
not the meaning of
insisting.
dehumanization.
It
Yeah.
was actually a
You're
stereotype, but
willfully.
but
Yeah.
truly, Alan's point, stereotypes do exist, right? You're talking about
Yes.
Yeah.
certain groups in schools. Straight men tend to all dress similarly as well.
Yeah.
So stereotypes are
Yeah.
not unreal, but dehumanization is very separate from naming a stereotype.
I mean,
Exactly.
he says he
But I was
doesn't.
going to say, do you want to go ahead, Carlos? Go ahead.
Yeah, I
He
think
says
I've
he
belabored
doesn't
this
con.
enough.
He says he doesn't condemn it, but like you can tell that he's not happy about it, and then like, certainly, I do think that there's a lot of people who condemn it, even if he refuses to acknowledge that. But people on the right do, and it's like, why? That's the point about freedoms, right? Like, people don't need to like satisfy your preferences. If they want to have their hair green and blue and whatever sparkly, it's just like incredible that people complain about it and try to like dehumanize them. But it shouldn't affect you. Just leave people alone, let them be free. If you believe in freedoms, just let them be free and care about your business. If you don't like to be a lesbian with green or blue hair, don't be one. And that's it. Just be happy with yourself and let other people be happy.
So if I don't have to satisfy other people's preferences, if a man dresses up as a woman and insists that he is actually a woman and insists I call him a she, I don't have to satisfy that man's preference. Thank
No, you
Correct. You
don't.
don't have
You
to
don't.
address her at
Yeah.
all. That is
Yes.
true. You do
you.
not have to address
Yeah,
her at
but
Yeah,
all.
but
exactly.
but but that person is working behind the counter at Starbucks, and a customer walks in and says, "Thank you, sir," and that person then starts yelling and screaming, which, by the way, has actually happened in real life, not to me, but there are clips of that happening. Then we have now crossed into. I didn't. The customer had no choice. So no, and it's not only that; it's disingenuous to say, well, you don't have to address that person, because when it comes to that issue, they are they are inserting themselves into every situation looking for validation. So no, you can't say well, you don't have to interact with the
That's not
person.
what's being said. What's being said is, to put simply, is live and let live. It's really interesting because, they're conservatives on stage here, and you believe in small government and the government not meddling in and telling you things to do, what to do, and so on.
I'm not concerned.
But it seems to not extend. I'm not talking about. I'm just talking about the majority, maybe the mods and so on. But I'm just saying, and obviously Alan is, so you believe about you don't believe in the government meddling in your life, but somehow you agree with um, you know society dictating to the standards for everybody. Like it's just as simple as we've got to coexist on this planet Earth. We've only got one planet. Let people live, and just ignore it and turn, I mean, yeah, go ahead, everybody, go ahead.
Uh, go ahead, Serendip.
Can I jump in a second?
Serendip.
Because I don't think that that's actually incoherent. I think conservatism does rely on social cohesion and social regulation, and that's because they want the government to be small, so the societies regulate themselves. So I think it's anti-libertarian maybe, but I don't think it's anti-conservative.
Yeah, and no, I
Yeah,
would
sorry, our
say,
definitions are different. As I said, you know like I'm Australian before, we have a totally different definition of what conservative, and even the term liberal, we consider that's considered a person on the right. So small, our classical liberal, yes, it's not incompatible with those values for sure. But I'm talking about, for lack of a better word, the social conservatism. It's interesting that people that are conservative, um, and don't want the government involved in that aspect, also want to dictate to people. Like I'm just saying, it doesn't make sense to me, coming from my Australian perspective. Um, yeah, but I guess that
well,
Americans.
no, I can answer that for you, because if you look at specifically when you look at gay rights in the United States, the original argument was, look, our sexual orientation is different. We don't deserve to have the crap beaten out, to be beaten up just because we're gay. And that was kind of the beginning of the gay movement. I forget where it was. There was some incident in San Francisco where cops were routinely going into gay clubs and beating gay men up. And then one night the men had had enough of that and they beat the crap out of the cops. And then finally, of course, the cops called in backup, but that was the beginning of it. And it brought national attention to the rights of gay people. So that was the argument. And by and large, most people in the United States went along with it. It was like, oh, they want to be gay, let them be gay. We know they exist. That's it. It does exactly like you said. It doesn't affect our lives. So we're going to leave it alone. The problem is that once it started pushing towards gay marriage, which conservatives felt was part of their realm, and then once the left started insisting that it be taught in schools, now you're discussing people's children. That's when the left lost ground, and that's when you started to see the resistance coming not only from conservatives, but the moderates in the country. And I can tell you specifically that it as much as the left denied it and said, oh, it's not being taught in schools, even when they were denying that it was being taught in schools, it was being taught in schools. And I can tell you in more liberal cities, the drag queen story times that the left insisted was not happening, that they were taking like kindergarten and first grade classes without parents' permissions off school grounds to drag queen story hours.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Can I
so
gonna
yeah,
jump in
at
here?
that
Can we get
point,
a source
that
for that without parents' permission off
yes,
school grounds?
It's all
yes,
So,
made up.
yes,
It's all made
I
up.
so
can
Alan,
I
get you,
mean,
so I
May I be
will,
added to the queue?
Okay, yeah.
yeah, I will
Pockets.
give you the
Hold on for a
source.
second. So pockets, like I'm gonna let you go next. I just wanted to say, like Don said something in the chat that kind of goes along with what Alan and Nuya was talking about. Um,
It's
meddling in
known,
people.
known, Francie.
I'm say,
Known.
say it again.
Known.
Noon.
So
Okay.
just,
I
yeah,
had
known, simple.
I don't have it in front of me. But like I have no problem with people. Well, if you have your hair pink or what, I don't have a problem with your body size. I don't have any problems with that. Well, I have a problem with people meddling in other people's lives, and it seems like that certain stereotype. And I also agreed. I thought it was a good point, Alan, when you were talking about like the jocks in school and the the band people, everybody's different, and you dress a certain way to put out a certain message. And I think that was a good example. But I don't, like Don said in the chat, my problem is meddling in people's lives, going into a restaurant and seeing someone with a mag on, or seeing an ICE agent eating their lunch and literally like not up and getting their face but physically assaulting them. That's my problem. Okay, Pocket, you're next.
Thank you, because I feel like,
Into the queue,
yes.
Francie Christian.
Hi, Dawn, and peace to the room, to everybody. I think it's really interesting when we talk about, certain things taught in a lot of the truth wasn't taught in our schools, and I'm just going to wake that up. There were myths that were debunked that were in my curriculum when I went to school, but no one really wakes up. I think especially considering they're the way there's a favoritism and a pickiness that comes to which topics are important and which aren't. The history of this nation and what's gone on in it and what's happened. I think, yeah, peace to the room. I feel like what's happened is, we're for a large chunk of what we're learning in school is not the real history. I feel like that's what needs to be really addressed, honestly, before anything else, is the history we're being taught in schools is not correct. Um, and I do agree that, teaching kids about gender identity is wrong. Teaching, sex ed is very important. The horrors of STDs and getting pregnant and having safe sex. I think that is very, very important. But gender identity, I believe, is something that should be involved in, like, once they're older, at least sophomore, junior, senior years. I think K through 6, K through 7, we should just kind of leave that up to the parents, to be honest, because I don't believe the school should be in charge in teaching any specific ideology, whether it's even religion. I don't think religion should be in schools just because of how much it's been perverted in this because of the perversion of it in the states and how it's used in certain states. I don't even think that should be taught in schools anymore. So I feel like, we should all, when it comes to ideologies, political ideologies, religious ideologies, gender ideologies, keep it out the schools. Keep it strictly history, math, science, um, and English or whatever the case may be. I feel like when we start to add all these innuendos, certain nuances in the school, that we're confusing the fuck out of our kids. Our kids are coming home knowing way too much. My niece is knowing way too much about things she shouldn't even be thinking about at her age. I feel like she should just get the basics done. A lot of things that we're teaching our children are not what's needed. We're teaching them to be workers anyways, not owners, which is also a problem. So I feel like, the political ideology thing is an issue. I feel like anyone who identifies as a political ideology is a problem um, in the States because these literally politics is the definition of it is meant to divide. It's not even a good word. It's really meant to divide people and conquer people and have us fighting when we know damn well who the real enemy is. We know damn well what's going on up there in the House, the Senate, Congress, in the Capitol. It doesn't matter whose side you're on. We're getting fucked if we're not, the top 1%, if we're not the ones that are, you know, with these people. So I think we got to remember whose side we're actually really on, and that's the people's and not the government's. Because let's be honest, it's been how many years, how many centuries, and you know, so we're still wondering what's going on with the minimum wage, still wondering why the cost of living is increasing as well as the minimum wage. You can raise it up to 20 bucks, I don't care, but if rent went from 1,000 to 2,000 and you're raising my minimum wage from $16 to $20, I still can't afford shit. People still cannot afford to live in this country, and that's the issue that I feel like no one's addressing on either side, um, to be honest. So I feel like we just got to watch out for each other instead of watching out for our political adversaries. because let's be honest, their pockets are much larger than ours, and it just keeps increasing while most of the people's keeps decreasing. That's all I want.
Yeah, can I jump in here? Um, so what I was gonna, I wanted to talk about the article because the article is actually a fascinating article. But before I talk about that, this issue with um, what we're talking about, gender identity, transgender this, and LGBTQ that. Let me tell you what happened. Okay, the politicians, and particularly the Republicans, the Republicans started going along with the agenda. The Democrats and the left and the media, they rolled out the red carpet for all of the LGBTQ, and the Republicans just went along with it. But what happened was in Loudoun County, Virginia, you had two girls that were assaulted, and the fathers lost their minds. And that was the breaking point. Once that happened, all of the parents across all of the whole country was like, nope, we're out. We're done. That's it. That's all it took was two girls to be assaulted inside of Loudoun County, Virginia. And credit to the parents because the pilot and it just highlights how weak a lot 99.9% of all of the politicians are for going along with that ideology and kowtowing to whatever the sick agenda that a lot of these people had, and the parents had the fortitude to stand up for their own children no matter what the consequences were. So credit to the parents. They did it. It wasn't the politicians, it wasn't the media, it wasn't the school districts, it wasn't the pastors, it wasn't the churches, it wasn't none of these people stood up for them. The parents stood up for it. That's why it stopped. And I would also say too that the Obergefell decision, eventually the Obergefell decision is gonna have to be reversed because of the damage that it has done. Because a lot of people don't realize that Obergefell decision is the whole reason why you saw the vast advancement of transgender this multi-sex bathrooms, men playing in women's sports, all of it, it all comes back to that Obergefell decision. Um, and then to this article. This article is it's actually a great read. If you haven't read it, you should probably read it. But what I find so interesting is they did not credit the churches for the reason why conservative women were more happier. It was more so just due to the aspect of marriage, and then just the individual person having a belief in God and then not buying into the agenda. So that I think that just that alone helps a lot of women in general to be more happy when they are able to do that, because a lot of what is sold to women historically has been lies. I mean, it's just it is what it is. The third wave feminism, the fourth wave feminism, a lot of that stuff, it was lies. And it's sad that they have injected and ingested that propaganda. And this is not my words, literally the former editor in chief of the Cosmopolitan called it propaganda. They sat down in the 60s and came up with made up stories. I am not paraphrasing. She said we came up with made up stories to sell women and put it in the publication and distribute it out and sell it to women. and that is why you have so much, let's just say, or a vast swaths of the population that have bought into this ideology, and it follows them through college, and after they leave college, then it follows them to their place of work, and it is just so bad, and it is going to be nearly impossible, okay, because yeah, we can stop it inside of the schools, but once the kid becomes at age 25, it's nearly impossible to deprogram them, and it really takes someone on the other side, whether it is a man that she's going to be married to, or it ain't gonna be the parents, because the parents because because 9 times out of 10, if the child is believing that, then more than likely the parent is buying into a lot of that. So it's really going to depend on whether or not they have a man or someone in their life, or some type of male figure that could help them deprogram a lot of that propaganda out of their mind. Thank you.
I'll answer the title.
When did this proper?
Yeah, if we can let
Let's
people,
ask.
if someone hasn't had a chance to speak, let's be polite and let people speak if they haven't had a chance.
Thank you. I just want to say
Oh, I
that
haven't spoken either.
then go ahead, sir. I'm not fighting.
Christian, I wanted to know, when did this propaganda start coming out?
So, I'm very familiar with the former Cosmopolitan editor in chief from the 1960s, who basically, later on in her life, she came out publicly and admitted to writing made up stories in the Cosmopolitan and distributing that stuff out to the masses. And then you could even go even further than that, and you will find that the main leaders, or the let's just call it the main ideals of feminism, was based on lies, even prior to the 1960s. So this was a focused, concerted effort to get women to believe lies, all for, call it money, profit, call it power, call it being able
Okay.
to shift the country in the wrong direction. That is I, it's hard to put into words the damage that it has done to the United States, particularly because we are literally, we really control the world with our vote, as you can see, as Trump has demonstrated. So to have this kind of negative impact on women, causing them to think a certain way, vote a certain way, it is damaging.
Okay, and now we're going to be gentlemen and give the floor to Autumn and allow her to speak
I,
uninterrupted.
Thank you.
I
Don't
did.
do it.
I,
Don't
li-
even fucking do it, please.
I
I just
literally
said we're
asked it.
giving her. I don't care. You can come back and ask your question. We're going to be gentlemen for a minute.
Wow.
Thank you. I just wanted to speak to the title. So I think that white liberal women are the problem depending on the political perspective of it. I say that to say that, for example, like some people may think like their allyship is performative. Um, it also there's some negatives with the mental health spirals, with them feeling as though their need or well being that they need to go out and change things, but it also causes like an overly negative view of the world, which in return amplified by social media. That's why I would say it's a two-part thing, but I don't want to speak for too long. But I would say, depending on the political situation, yes, the white woman who's a liberal is a problem.
What advice do you have for people who agree with you?
Um, like what do you? I would say I don't know what advice I would have. Like no one, I didn't really think about that. I gotta come back to you on that one, Monica, because I haven't thought about that.
See, my problem with this whole question
is that
Hold on, hold on,
the
wait, Augustus. So when you say like what I would say, are you saying how would I help that white liberal white woman? Would that be more so the
Yeah, so because when white women talk to woke white liberal women or awfuls, affluent white feminist liberals, we're told you're only saying that because you want to uphold white supremacy, the patriarchy, and whiteness. And what we're truly saying is you're arrogant and oblivious, and you're trying to help people that one didn't ask for your help, that two, you're unlikely to actually help them in any formative way. And your arrogance and your obnoxiousness in thinking they need help takes me. So, Autumn, like, I'm kind of stuck because they're not listening to me.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's definitely an interesting sector with that. I mean, how I would say help is just understanding your place. I think if you're not being too aggressive with it, understand that you got to listen to what people are saying, and since you are in a black person, you have to listen and educate yourself. I would say and acknowledge your privilege. I think that's what a lot of people want. But when it comes to the liberals, I don't know. Like I'm mixed, Monica. So how I view things is based off of both perspectives. Like I know liberal white women, I know liberal white women, and I know some that aren't liberal. That's why I'm saying for me, it depends on the perspective of the political, like politics. When it's politics related, then I'm going, okay, I got to kind of understand that white woman and why is she liberal and understand what's going on with that. And based on the conversation, then I'll know how to go about it, Monica.
That's fair. And it's probably best to have a relationship with them too, so that like it's coming from a familiar place instead of a preachy place. Thanks, Autumn.
All right. Uh, we're gonna. Oh, is Augusta still here? Augusta, I'm gonna let Chris respond to Christian just so we don't get too far away from their topic, and then the floor is yours.
Yeah, so I was just clarifying. There
Chris,
was
honey,
the
you're in the
inconsistent
matrix.
Yeah, you're in the matrix.
why is if this propaganda came out in
Yeah, you're still roboting.
Check your audio there,
you're
Chris.
in the matrix.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, so I was saying that the reason why I was asking did this propaganda come out in the 60s because it wasn't until 1964 employer could refuse to hire you because you were a woman. It wasn't until 1974 that refusing to sell a woman a home was legal, and then not until the 1980s, I think like 19, you could refuse to rent to a woman with children. So this idea that feminism was disrespectful to um, uh, traditional unity and like old school love is not necessarily supported by the family unit itself, but it seems like it was actually compromised by the generation and the time that we were living in at the time. Women didn't stay in relationships because they were better, they stayed because society wasn't designed for their independence. So if women are able to excel in ways that society had not given them the opportunity to excel in, then that provides a opportunity for us to rethink why did we want women to live a more diminished expression of who it is that they could actually be. And it's an invitation not only for women to continue to grow, but for men to continue to grow as well, so that love is not just something that is uh, a systemic. It's not something that's just systemic, but rather it's something that's actually uh, foundationally human.
Okay, so I mean, can you just say it just in layman's terms? What's your larger point that you're making?
My larger point is that how can we say that feminism was purely propaganda when women didn't have the opportunity to actually um, inherently and independently be women? because society wasn't designed for them to be that way.
Well, I mean that doesn't change the fact that they were given or sold propaganda. I mean that's aside from them being lied to. And then I could also say too that the when you look at the 1960s and then you look at 2026, I mean, I don't even have to even go into detail. I think every person in this room is fully aware of the problems that are now occurring between men and women. And it most goes back to that origination of what women were told several decades ago. And it is so damaging that you'd almost we are almost at a point of because you know how parents went and they were able to resolve the problem with they got rid of the transgender stuff. This other issue with the feminism, it's embedded into the culture. So h- how do we go about undoing it? And if we can't undo it, we're basically headed to a dead end. I mean, it's going to leave a lot of people drowning. They won't be able to pull themselves up.
I
Where
think the
where
dead
will it
end
leave
is
men, Christian? Or will the women be drowning, or will the men be drowning,
Well,
or
the
will there
women,
be like a greater extent of the male loneliness epidemic, which isn't even founded on men who are single and not married? It's more founded on men who don't have brotherhood, but that's not what it is anymore.
it's going to be a larger issue for women because you got to remember that because men are, we're able to even if you have a small swath of men that fall into, and you can call it loneliness epidemic or depression, suicide, whatever the case may be, you're still going to have a vast majority of men who can continue on with the critical infrastructure. On the other side of women, women not being able to, well the article explains it. The article lays it out for you, that having uh women believe that kind of propaganda, it does eventually lead them to the inevitable, which is a dead end. That's a larger issue and a larger problem because it means that we will not have viable women to start families. That is a much greater issue aside from what we're talking about now.
I don't think you
I'd
were
say
here earlier when we
What's the
sort
dead
of
end?
touched on the fact
Death,
that the
death,
article is
destruction, welfare.
Okay. DB, you were saying?
so earlier. I mean, one of the first things I was talking about, and I read the article, and it is data, and it's interpreted in a very lensed, it's biased. So the data itself isn't necessarily biased, but the article does contain bias, and it contains a lens, and it contains a Christian lens, and that's fine. But we can't go reading this, and it's clearly stated these are some potential things, and the solution posed is, oh, liberal women need to change their mindset.
So,
Okay, so hold on.
Yeah, and I'd like
I
to
won't be
go.
long.
I'd like to respond to Christian.
Yeah, real quick.
Please do, in the middle of my sentence.
Let's
r-
let DB
yeah,
finish.
go ahead.
Let's let DB finish.
I'll yield the mic.
Yeah, real quick. And I'll reiterate this again. The church has failed women. The church and its leaders.
Another way
Uh,
that could be said is men have failed women.
well, you can say that. You
For
can say
sure.
that you can say that the men, which are predominantly the leaders of the church, they have failed. for various numbers of reasons. So no, I don't agree. I just want to emphasize this because I heard you say what you said about the religious aspect of it. I do not agree with the article, which the article actually does point out that the church is not the reason. It was not the leading factor or the determining factor. But I want to emphasize the church has not done its job. The black church, the white church, the Hispanic church, they are failing the family. They are failing women. And men are leading these organizations or non-for-profits or whatever you want to call them, ministries. They have not done what they have needed to do. Go ahead.
I wanted to say that, like,
Uh, yeah, DB, did you want to respond? I was going to, or
Alex,
No, go ahead, Alan.
go
You
ahead.
can.
yeah, I found, and I think the person he was just trying to speak. I find a lot of these arguments are guilty of presentism, if I'm using that term correctly. I mean, we talk about women's rights, et cetera, et cetera. And well, it wasn't until 1970 a woman was allowed to have her own bank account. Um, they forget in 1900, a married woman with children, and I cannot find this article. I remember reading it. This woman posted in a newspaper her new method for housekeeping and taking care of her family. She was working 12 hours a day. Because, you want to wash your body, you buy a soap. She had to make soap. I challenge anyone in this room to wash their clothes by hand. Wash them, dry them, and iron them. And then you will understand what the issue with presentism is. Because I don't even remember why, but I had to do that. It took me hours. So when you talk about things like that, you're forgetting it's the reason why there are roles between men and women. It's called the division of labor in order to survive. And I don't mean survive, the next round of NBA um, picks. I mean survive as in if you don't do these things, you're going to die, your wife is going to die, and your children are going to die. That is most of human history. And now, if we've created a society in which we insulated from that, more power to us. And we're trying to figure out, well, now that technology has advanced, where no, things are a little easier, we're trying that out. But I think what we've discovered is that, yeah, our society has changed in about 100 years, but biology hasn't. And people hate the biological argument. But as last I checked, evolution does, advances on a scale of thousands or hundreds of thousands of years. And I don't think we as human males and human females have changed in the last 100 years.
I think the problem is
Which
conflating
biological
like
changes, brother?
biological. I think the problem is conflating like systemic change with biological change and thinking that like the way that women and men were conditioned in society is a reflection of what their biological capacity is. Because I don't think that women having a choice is the society's current tensions are not the result of women changing. They're the result of systems finally losing their power to trap women in relationships that are entirely dependent. I know many women who are tired of being the emotional laborers for men when they have the capacity to take responsibility and accountability for their own emotional lives. What's breaking isn't femininity; it's the structures that have relied on men having no exit. That's why it's important to understand not only when that propaganda came out, but what were some of the other issues that paint a larger picture contextually through generation that show that women have not really had the choice. And I think what men are going through is a refusal to actualize and to grow on their own and to meet women in a more holistic way instead of one that people are making an argument is a misalignment biologically, but it's always been a misalignment systemically.
Well, to that point, yeah, women didn't have a choice. Guess what? Men didn't have a choice, and they still don't have a choice. And especially when it comes to the patterns we're seeing in how men and women are choosing their mates, men are still judged by their accomplishments and are still expected to perform and provide. That has not changed. And you saw it most clearly during the pandemic, where not, we're going to hate this example, but Kevin Samuel's rise to fame was the whole phrase, a high value man, that women were still seeking a high valued man, and what that was defined as is as being having a certain amount of income, certain amount of resources, etc., that he could provide to a woman. But as far as the issue of the biological versus systemic, it's very simple. If you're a woman, you have a child. um,
What about
Number
women who are
one, the best
infertile?
thing,
Does that factor in?
okay, if you're a woman and you have a child, and we're going to say this is, oh, regardless, this is with or without marriage. The best thing you can do for that child, it's been proven time and time again, is to breastfeed. You now need 600 calories a day in order to provide for that child. That's number one. Number two, you've just given birth. You need time to recover. Number three, psychologically, emotionally, physically, physiologically, the best thing for that child is for the mother to be at home to care for that child. It's a fact. Okay? That means that you are knocking. Who's going to provide for you? That has not changed. So all of these things that that you claim are systemic and somehow trapping women, that was the whole characterization, and
Alan,
that's the
which is
objection
better?
to
Which is
feminism.
better? A mom who has a child, who's born given a child, and is married to a man. Which one is better? The mom that has no economic options, or the mom that does have economic options in
What do you
addition to
mean by
choose?
economic options?
It's what do you mean? What do I mean? It's very obvious. Like the ability to earn.
What does that have to, what does the ability to earn money have to do with the
I asked you a
benefit
question, dude.
of
Don't
the
overcomplicate
child?
it. Which is
If
better?
she
Which
can
is
go and
better?
earn money and he's crying because he's not being fed,
Dude,
what's
answer the
what's
question.
Selfishness,
Answer the
selfishness,
question.
Oh,
lifestyle.
oh.
yeah, I don't
Sorry, is there a queue? Because I would like to speak, but I
yeah,
don't want to
I
cut
mean,
people off.
the idea
Which is
that you
better?
would,
Answer the question.
what is better?
Yeah, there is none.
What
Which?
is
What
better?
woman doesn't have the ability to
For
earn right
better
now?
for whom?
Selfish.
Okay, all right. Let me simplify
Better
it for.
for
Let me
whom?
even
Stop
delineate it
interrupting
more.
Alan, please. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no, it's okay.
This is an
I will
exchange.
answer
Y'all
your
have
question.
60 seconds to finish this exchange.
Hey, better for whom? The woman or
For
the child?
everyone. For everyone.
For everyone, economic options are not a factor in this scenario.
That's false. It's always
No,
better.
true.
It's always better for the family if both have economic options.
Better for the family. Yeah, well,
Dude, you're in total denial
that
if you can't accept
no,
that
I'm
fact.
not in denial. It's not better for the child.
Why is it not better
Child
for the
is
child?
vulnerable. It's not better for the child.
How is it not better for their child for both
What
parents
does
to have
what
economic
does the
resilience?
6 month a 6 month no, a 6 week old baby does not care about financial options. It cares that it's fed, it cares that its diapers changed, it cares that it's burped, and it cares that it's being put to sleep. That's what it cares about. That's all it cares about.
Dude,
And if the
you are
mother
confused,
isn't
my
there
man.
to do
You're
that,
oversimplifying it to support your
no,
case.
literally, as a parent, I can tell you that's the requirements for a newborn.
You,
Feed me, burp me,
of
change
course,
me,
of
put me to
course.
sleep.
But
That's it.
how does
Okay.
a how
Okay.
does the mother having the ability to earn an income change her decision to be there for the 6 months?
Because she's
If
not
she does
available.
so, you
She
guys are
can't.
idiots. I'm saying she
She
has the
can't
option. She's
earn.
not not required to. She has the option. I mean, most mothers will opt
You
to stay
let
home and be
Laura
present
finish
for their child.
serendipity and then
But
this guy
Okay.
comes in
eight
with
hours in the
bullshit.
day, she won't be there.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay. 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 Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Yeah.
We will get back to the economic discussion because I think there's
I
more to
just
dive
can't help.
into
I
there.
can't
But
help your low functioning brain.
Hey,
Yeah, Johnny,
okay.
it's a stupid question.
Wow. We're
Really
gonna
is.
go
it
there.
does.
This room just got really low IQ. So we're gonna go
Yeah.
to Big Back Steve and see what he has to say. And then Augustus will be next because he left and came back, and so he goes
Can
after
I hop in
Steve.
that queue at the end?
You sure can, Grizz.
Thank you.
I, I would like to as well. I kind of put it in
One
the chat.
second. Okay.
Okay, I got you,
Cool.
Chris.
Are we good?
We are good.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of angles being presented.
Yeah, try to
I
keep it
don't
to 2 minutes or less, okay?
yeah, I'll try and be succinct. But the concept of feminism, I don't think is inherently bad. I absolutely see where it was birthed from. It was absolutely a movement from historical oppression. I just feel like we've kind of overcorrected. I feel like we're not really recognizing um, the balance that has to be struck between the individual and the collective. If you're a woman and you're unemployed, sorry, if you're employed, you have no children, and you're doing your own thing, by all means, baby girl, live your life, do your thing. However, if you are going to commit to this project of having a child, that comes from prerequisites. You have to recognize you are not totality. The man is not the totality. The child is the totality. You have to work in conjunction with the opposite to provide the best life for that child. Now, however that looks like is however it looks like. I mean, it's going to depend on the economic circumstances, sociological, and all the rest. I mean, if you are fortunate enough to have a partner who can bear the entire economic load, and then it's just incumbent on you to try and fulfill the household responsibilities and really do that. But even in this modern world, that looks very different. You've got hoovers, you've got dishwashers, you've got washing machines, you've got everything that kind of takes away from much of the labor in the house. So it's not indicative of a housewife of, say, the 1950s or whatever. You've therefore got much more time to invest in your child. Sorry, I hope you can hear me. My timer just went off. You've
Yep.
got more time. You've got more time that you should and can invest in your child, and that's what it should be. That's in best case scenarios. Um, Worst case scenarios, you and daddy both have to go to work. Okay, cool. But again, there's levels to that. You've got to divide the labor in a manner that doesn't bring this instability in the household. I'm a bit old school. I don't personally believe that if I don't believe in a man staying at home and looking after the kids and the mum going to work. But again, if that's your thing, then that's just a side note. But if you are both having to go to work, again, just recognize you both got your roles and the kids reign supreme. And even if you break up, again, I think this is the most fundamental thing here. If you do break up, it still is about the kids, right?
Yep.
It's not about, sorry, I'll leave it there because I've been going on for a while. All right, boom.
No, you're right. I mean, I agree with most of what you said. I think we live in a society now that kind of tends to dictate that it's really hard. It's very difficult not to have both parents be economically stable. That's just kind of become a nature of the way that particularly we as Americans live. obviously, I think I agree with you. I think the best case scenario for a child is to have a parent home with them, raising them, focusing their attention on them during their formative developmental years. But that's just not always economically practical.
Parented.
Augustus, I'm going to give it to you. You there?
Hey, yeah,
Okay.
sorry. I was just
Okay.
posting something on my Instagram channel. Yeah, man, like my whole take on this topic is that there's like a problem with the question. First off, I don't think being white has anything to do with the issue. Second off, it's fascinating to me to see like this whole idea that like liberal women like is an identity, considering that they basically have invented liberals have invented identity politics to where I could say I'm a liberal woman, I'm a liberal white woman, I identify as that, but I've got a dick. So that there's a whole
Enlightened.
what?
That was an enlightened comment. I like that. And very enlightened.
Yeah. I mean, my whole problem is the fact that, these Democrats play these identity politics until it doesn't work for them no longer. Like, listen, I identify as a black Somalian woman from Minnesota. Where's my $1 million? You know, like it's bullshit. That's bullshit. So for it to be, a liberal white woman being the problem, no, they're not the fucking problem. You know what's the fucking problem? Is the woke mind virus. The woke mind virus is the problem. Yo, I mean, listen, man, there's clearly a lot of Democrats in this room, and it's a shame. It's really a shame, because the pendulum is swinging in their direction, and they're soon to power. They're Gavin Newsom is gonna be president because of how bad the Republicans have fucked up this whole administration. And it's a shame because when they get in power, they're gonna come after each and every one of us. The comments that I made right now are going to be disbarred from uh disbarred from society. you know It'll be like London, where it's like Augustus was on social media and he said this about these people. He said that about this person. Jail. That's what's going on in London. And that's
It's
what's going to happen soon
it's
when
nice.
these Democrats come into power.
It's
I'm
if
sorry,
I
bro. I'm sorry, bro. You just had your turn.
from the UK, so you commented on London. I
Uh,
was just gonna clarify.
and are you a white? Are
I'm
you
mixed.
white?
I'm mixed race. Yeah.
You're mixed race, so you're not white.
I look hella
So
white, but there's no.
you don't have any say in this conversation as far as I'm concerned. If you want to play that game, that because I'm not from the UK, I can't say nothing about the UK.
You
Get the
can.
fuck out of here with
You
that
can.
logic, bro.
Of course, you can speak. I'm not saying you can't speak. I was just simply going to clarify what you was actually saying, how it actually
I
manifests
can't
in
even
reality.
understand you, bro, with your thick ass accent. Speaking
Okay.
English. What'd you say?
Augustus, you're
Ironic.
being extremely racist.
Yeah, amazing.
He's actually speaking original English. We're the ones speaking a ghetto version.
Amazing. I still don't
Literally.
understand what he's saying.
Augustus, look, listen, by all means, brother,
Shouldn't
you
be
can have your
interrupting your
opinion.
submission, first of all.
I
Yeah,
wasn't even
it's
trying
okay
to. I
though,
wasn't
bro.
trying to. I was just trying to clarify that one particular point. I was going to wait, but I was going to clarify on that particular notion when you're saying people being jailed. I just want to clarify on that.
Yeah, that they're
But
making on
once you've
social media.
once
Look
you've
at Tom.
finished,
Look at Tommy Robinson, right?
How many times has he been to court this year or in 2025?
Well, it depends how you look at it.
Oh my God, look at you, bro. You clearly are a Democrat.
Okay, well, no, let me if you're confused, if you're talking specifically about Robinson, the
I'm
and
using
again,
him as
I'm
an example.
pause. I'm
Wait,
not actually okay.
wait, wait. Hold on.
Sorry, go ahead, Serendipity.
Augustus, did you want to do like a 60-second wrap up of your point? Because we have a queue, I want to keep it moving. And Grizz has got something to say, and we've had a couple of other people join the stage.
Nah, I'm enjoying listening to the conversation. Thanks for letting me share my opinion on the topic.
We appreciate your share. Grizz, would you like to go next?
Absolutely. Title say liberal white women are problem. I'm black, man. I think liberal white women politics have like took over black politics. I talk to black men and they sound like liberal white women now. I think liberal white women like the worst thing right now. I do. I'll be honest with you. I do. I don't even understand. When I talk to people that look like me, they sound like liberal white women. They out here jumping out in front of bullets for random marginalized groups, and I'm like, what the fuck? You got issues yourself. I'm a fighter, but like I'm not fighting for nobody else, especially if I'm getting my ass kicked. Um, everything is oppression now. Everything is you're at a disadvantage with everything. They try to make you a victim in every circumstance, situation. I come from the streets. I ain't never been a victim a day in my life. That's the politics that I grew up on. You're not a victim in no aspect. I can't afford to be a victim, right? So do I think white liberal women? I think shit, they seem to be the problem in Minnesota fucking right now. I just think it's a very dangerous time right now for them because I don't think that those tears mean as much as they used to mean. Those tears used to mean a lot. Right now, those tears don't mean as much. And I think we've seen that over the last month with certain things that's transpired. I don't think America is kind of on that right now. And I think white liberal women I think they might want to pay attention to that. The only pushback I got against the last speaker is I don't think that they're getting back in power, bro. I don't. I think they fucked up so much that they may be too far over the line. We know what it is. We know they far left. Like we know that. I was a Democrat at one point. I was over there. That shit went too far. Like that shit went too far. It's too far gone. It's too much. As a black man, there was too much emasculation going on. I couldn't fuck with it. Um, but ultimately, in my community, when it comes to politics, I definitely think white liberal women are an issue, a major fucking issue.
Thank you for your share, Grizz. And I want to welcome Kevin and Ayama and Johnny and Bima to the stage. Kevin, did you want to contribute or are you just listening?
Yes, yes. I like to say, yeah, liberal women in general, it's self-destructive from an economical standpoint. Now, both parents need to work, right? Now, there's two cars. You're consuming more. Um, and on the spiritual level, I seen this in the Discovery Channel where lions are hunting cattle. They'll confuse the parents and they'll leave their offspring unattended, then they'll attack the offspring. I feel like that's kind of happening now where they're brainwashing the kids. There's no parent around to uh, guard their children with what they're teaching the kids. I mean, I had to take out my kids. First, I was struck when I first had my kids how evil people can be towards infants. My kid was in the hospital because of what a woman did to them while he was a few months old. When he was in school, I saw them give him gay books with boys bending over backwards. I couldn't believe it until I saw it with my own eyes. And believe it or not, some kids they start talking about changing their genders. What are they? What's this and that? When their parents are not around. So I feel like yes, we're leaving our kids to the wolves, and we're working more. We're being brainwashed by social media, consuming more, and it's just a cycle. I Someone mentioned that it's not feasible. I was making at the time. I'm making a lot more now, but at the time when I first got married, first had my child, I was only making 40,000. We work. We If we had to, shop at Goodwill, cook every day, we just made it work. I was not trying to have my kids in the system, and I realized they were making fun of because he believes in God. He doesn't play video games. Now my son is great shape, very sharp, but they're mocked for the things that we were never mocked for that. If you were goofy, that was one thing, because you believe in God, because you have different morals. That I don't recall us ever mocking children over that. But yeah, that's my take. I feel like both parents working, you're leaving the next generation to the wolves, and you're consuming more than what you really need. And I yield the mic.
Is there a queue? Can I go?
You are next, my friend.
I thought I was
Okay.
after Grizz earlier.
Oh, my
Oh, you know
bad,
what,
Chris.
Chris? I'm sorry. I just told he could go, and since he's a new voice, I'm gonna let him go, and then you can have it before we head to Bema. Okay?
Well, I've said this since the 2016 election. It doesn't matter if it's liberal white women or conservative white women. They don't stand on business. They don't stand on what they believe in. Most of the complaints I hear are from white women about how men oppress them, how the patriarchy, this and this. But majority of them voted for Trump over women twice. So, like, to me, I think white women just don't, I think they've done a great job, like Bill Burr said in his SNL monologue, of tiptoeing between oppressed and oppressor and then picking which side suits them. Um, to me, the number one people to complain about DEI were white women. And then we look at the data and we see that they benefit the most from DEI. Um, you look at when it comes to voting, they didn't fight for the right of black people to vote, and majority of the anti-suffrage movement was white women. So they really don't know what foot to stand on. They don't stand 10 toes on a specific issue. They flip flop a lot. When it sees that it benefits them, that's the side they're going to jump on. They infiltrated black politics. They stole, DEI from us, the Title IX from us, Civil Rights Acts from us. So to me, I think liberal right, conservative right, they're a problem. They're betraying their own men, no matter if they're liberal or conservative men. And to be honest, they're the problem. And I'm gonna keep it a being with you. Um, you could have an election where white women will make up 60% of the voters, and it'll be a man versus a woman in the next 10 elections, and white women will still vote for a man and then still blame men as to why a female's not present, even though they make up a majority of voters. Because I'm trying to understand how a guy who said, I'm going to grab him right by the P word, was able to get majority of white women to vote for him in 2016, and how these women were crying about abortion and the right to their own body and this and that. These same women that were saying that betrayed women of other races and still voted for Trump again over Kamala. So it don't matter if it's liberal or conservative. Y'all the problem. Y'all don't stand on business.
Yeah, but the person that he was
David, you're gonna
in
have to
the
wait a minute. We have a queue. Chris, you get the floor next.
Hi, Alpha.
Yes, I wanted to
Hello.
respond to the first point
Can you help me
about
write code?
white liberals not necessarily
I was trained
operating
to
that white
answer
supremacy
questions,
is still the
but
major
I've been able
issue
to
that
learn.
needs to be confronted.
That's
And
very
it's kind
open-minded
of
of you.
revealed
Thank you. I'm
in
glad you're happy with
uh,
me.
little phrases that
What's this
kind
guy
of
doing?
reveal like the
That's a
awareness level
developer.
of
What do
white
you think he's
liberals.
working on?
One I've been hearing a lot that's been really
That's a
frustrating to
tough
me is
question. He might be
when they're
working on
talking
a
about
new
what's going on
feature,
in this
a bug
country.
fix,
We've
or
never
something
seen this
else. It's
before, but
quite
what they're really
possible.
saying is we've
Yes.
learned our own history, um,
Do you see
because
my
the state didn't
backpack?
suddenly change. It's being seen more
That's a
clearly,
badminton racket. It's a
and
squash
that
racket, but
lesson
that's pretty
can't be
close.
avoided, like an African American's elective, which a
That's a
lot of people have
badminton
become
racket.
successful and
No, but
never
you're not
taken
the
an
first
African
person to make
American
that
studies
mistake.
class, don't know their history, and don't know that black people have been living in a pseudo state of fascism for hundreds of years, and nothing can be confronted if it's still being denied.
AI,
So
a
when people are
technology that has
trying
been
to
advancing at breakneck speed.
get their
Artificial
accountability
intelligence is all the
or store
rage.
their
Some are now
accountability in
raising
offshore
alarms
accounts,
about
It is definitely
describing what's
concerning.
going on
This
in
is
this
an AI
country,
arms race.
We don't
that's
know how
something
this
that
is all
is
going to
more
shake out,
akin
but
to
it's
Nazi
clear something
Germany
is
than
happening.
something that's actually been pulled out of the book of American racism.
I'm kind of restless.
It shows the problem.
Trying to build
example,
AGI
right?
is the most exciting journey,
Who
in my
was the first
opinion, that
public
humans
figure
have
that
ever
had
embarked
to
on.
provide their documents to prove
If you're
their
really going to take that
citizenship?
seriously,
It was
there
President
isn't a lot of
Obama.
time.
He had to.
Life's very short.
He had to show his long
My whole life's
birth
goal
certificate,
is to solve
and it
artificial
didn't
general
resolve
intelligence.
suspicion.
And
It
on the
clarified
way,
it.
use AI
The
as the
issue
ultimate
was
tool
never
to
about
solve all
a
the world's
doubt,
most
but it
complex
was about
scientific problems.
bias. And beneath that bias,
I think that's bigger than the internet. I
it
think that's
showed
bigger
the
than mobile.
conditions that made what
I
we're
think it's
seeing
more
in
like
the present
the
now
advent
in
of electricity or
Minnesota and
fire.
other areas of the country unavoidable. Because whether you believe in his politic or not, um, from my opinion standpoint, when the clearest expression of American leadership being actualized in the Obamas is filtered through race, it exposes a nation that was trained to judge not by principle, but by
I
its
think this is a
proximity to
hugely critical
whiteness.
moment for
And
humanity.
when people don't
It
have
feels
the right
like we're on the
language
cusp
or not using the
of
right
some
language to
incredible
describe
things
this moment, it
happening.
shows how incapable they are of actually meeting this moment.
AGI is pretty close, I think.
So I wanted to say that in regards to the white liberal point.
This is the
But in
moment
regards
I've
to
been living my
what
whole life for.
Alan and Christian were saying earlier,
I've always been fascinated by the
when we
mind.
talk about like the
So I set
structure
my
of the
heart on studying
family and
neuroscience because I wanted to
women
get
being in the
inspiration from the brain
household
for
in the
AI.
1960s,
I remember
and we failed
asking
to look
Dennis,
at all the
what's the
systemic
end
issues that
game?
prevented
You
them
know,
from
so you're
being
going to
able to
come
make
here and you're
choices
going
and
to
have liberty.
study
We
neuroscience
are
and you're going to maybe get a
mistaking commitment for
PhD,
what's
you
actually
work hard.
constraint. And when people
And
are
he
shaped
said,
inside
you know, I
systems
want
that
to be able to
restrict
solve AI. I want to
their
be able to solve
agency,
intelligence.
The
they
human brain is the
become
only existence proof we
prepared
have,
only to
perhaps in the
function in
entire
other
universe, that
systems of
general
control.
intelligence is
And we see
possible
this
at
in our
all.
education system
And
where
I
people
thought
go to
someone
school
in this
to become
building
American
should be
workers. They don't
interested
learn
in
the
general
skills to
intelligence
mend
like
our
I am.
tattered social
And then
fabric.
Shane's name popped up.
But
Our
constraint,
next
it
speaker
always
today is
produces
Shane Legg.
symptoms.
He's from New
Varying
Zealand,
degrees of
where he
abuse,
trained
whether
in
domestic
math
abuse,
and classical
resentment, it
ballet.
could be
Are machines
repression,
actually becoming more intelligent?
dependency,
Some people say yes, some people say
emotional
no. It's
withdrawal,
not really clear. We know they're
or
getting a lot
weaponizing
faster at doing
emotions. And
computations,
these
but are we
distortions, they
actually going
don't
forwards in terms
disappear.
of general
They
intelligence?
just
We were both obsessed
metastasize,
with
and then
AGI,
it's
artificial general
these
intelligence. So
unresolved
today I'm going to be
aberrations that
talking about
eventually
different
sicken
approaches to
relationships,
building
they sicken
AGI.
With my
institutions
colleague Demis
and
Hassabis,
society
we're looking at
itself.
ways to
So
bring in
anytime as
ideas from
people,
theoretical
white,
neuroscience.
black,
I
conservative,
felt like we
democratic,
were the
we're
keepers of
operating
a
from a place
secret
where we withhold the
that
truth,
no one else
we're
knew.
upholding a
Shane and
narrative
I
that
knew
supports
no one in
delusion.
academia
And
would
so
be
until
supportive
we
of what we
start
were
to
doing.
embrace these
AI
different
was almost an
iterations of humanity
embarrassing
showing itself
word
back
to
to
use
itself,
in academic
whether from the
circles, right?
queer
If you
community, from what
said you're
women
working on
are
AI,
able to
then you clearly
actualize, or
weren't a
what men are
serious
now learning
scientist.
to be able to
So I
realize in
convinced
their own
Shane the right
emotional
way to do
lives,
it would be to
do
start
we
a
start to
company.
Okay,
accept
we're going to try to do
what we're
artificial
seeing
general
as an
intelligence.
opportunity
It
for
may
us
not
to
even be
become more
possible.
human
We're not
and to
quite sure how
operate
we're going to
based
do
on
it, but we have some
principles
ideas
and
of
not
kind
just
of
be cogs
approaches.
in a
Huge
capitalist
amounts of money, huge amounts of risk,
Thank
lots
you,
and lots of
Chris.
compute.
Emma, did you want to contribute anything
And
before I
if
go
we
back
pull
to
this off, it'll
Christian?
be the biggest thing ever,
Yeah, thank
right?
you.
That is a very
This
hard
might
thing for a
sound, I
typical
don't know if
investor
crass is
to
the
put their
word.
money on. It's almost
It
like
might
buying a
sound
lottery ticket.
rude.
I'm
That's
going to
not
be
my
speaking about
intention.
systems
But I think
neuroscience
the way that
and
it's framed,
how
the
it might be
whole
used to
topic,
help us build
liberal,
AGI. Finding
white
initial
woman, the
funding for this
problem,
was
I
very
think
hard. We're
that's
going
the
to solve all
problem.
of intelligence.
I'm
You
gonna
can
say,
imagine some of the looks I got when we were
you know,
pitching that
we're all
around.
here.
So I'm a
Our
VC,
first
and
time
I
being
look
alive,
at
and we
about
like to put people
700
in
to
categories, and
1,000
we point to
projects a
them.
year.
Liberals are the problem.
And
and I
liberals point to
fund
the left.
literally
Conservatives are
1%
the
of
problem.
those,
It's the
about
Democrats.
eight
Democrats say
projects a
it's the
year.
Republicans.
So that
Instead
means
of
99% of the
doing
time you're in no mode.
wait a minute, I'm telling you, this is the most important thing of all time. You know, I like a lot of what Chris was saying.
How explain,
You know,
it
like
connects with the brain,
really
why
is.
the time's right now, and
I
then
mean,
you're
we might
asking
be
me, but how are you going to make
on
money?
a little
What's your
different
product? It's like
vibes here, but
so
the
prosaic
language,
a
I think it's
question.
communication.
I think that,
you not be listening to what
of
I'm
course,
saying?
we're saying like,
We needed
are
investors
liberal
who
white women the
aren't
problem? Like, what's
necessarily
wrong
going
with
to
you?
invest
They're,
because they
they're
think it's
human
the
beings.
best
What do
investment
white
decision. They're
liberal
probably going to
women? I
invest
mean, I
because
went to
they just think it's
college
really
and
cool.
what
He's the
most
Silicon
there was
Valley
nursing. There
version
was
of the man
overwhelming
behind
nursing.
the curtain in The Wizard of
Almost
Oz.
everybody was
He had a
overwhelmed
lot to
that
do with
franchise.
giving you PayPal,
Everybody,
Facebook,
okay?
YouTube,
You're
and Yelp.
talking
If
liberal
everyone
white
says
women.
X, Peter Thiel suspects
They
that the
take up
opposite of
some
X
of the
is quite possibly
most
true.
So Peter Thiel was our first
social
big investor,
workers,
but he insisted that we come
nurses,
to Silicon Valley because that was the only place we could, there would be the talent
therapists,
and we could build that kind of
teachers,
company.
professors,
But I was pretty adamant we should be in London because I
volunteers.
think London's
You
an
know,
amazing
there's
city.
crazy. They
Plus,
make jokes
I knew
about
there
it.
were
There's memes
really
about
amazing
it.
people trained at
Volunteering
Cambridge and
in
Oxford and
shelters,
UCL
volunteering
in
with
Silicon
the
Valley.
dogs, the
And everybody's
animals, the
founding a company
crazy,
every year,
all
and
the
then if it doesn't
activists,
work, you
right?
chuck it and
Yeah,
you start
no.
something new.
If
That does
what
not is not
instead
conducive
of
to a
society
long-term research
being
challenge. So
an
we were
emotionally
totally
mature
an
society
outlier
and
for
saying,
him.
hey, look,
All right,
let's
everyone.
figure out
Welcome to
what
DeepMind.
these data points are.
What is our
Like,
mission?
what are the cause?
We
These people
summarize it as
are experiencing
DeepMind's mission
what?
is to build the world's first
They're
general
less
learning
happy
machine.
and they're more
So we always
lonely.
stress the word
Is that
general
because of
learning
their
here means two
politics?
things.
Our
Okay,
mission was
that's
to build
lazy.
an
That's
AGI, an
intellectually
artificial
lazy.
general
And I think
intelligence. And
you're
so that
morally
means that
lazy,
we
you're
need a
intellectually
system
lazy,
which
and you don't
is
even deserve to
general.
be a part of the
It
conversation.
doesn't learn to
Because
do
you're
one
not being
specific
intellectually
thing.
honest. You
That's
don't
a really
actually
key
want to
part
know
of
the
human
root
intelligence.
and
We can
understand
learn to do
what
many, many
exactly is
things.
It's going to,
happening.
of course, be a lot of
So
hard
no,
work.
let's look
But
at
one of
all
the
of
things that will keep me up at
the
night is to not
reasons
waste this
and the
opportunity
causes
to
and
really
the
make a
stress
difference here
points
and have
and
a
what's
big impact on
causing
the
their
world.
stresses
The
and
first people
everything
that
else.
came and
They
joined
also
DeepMind
white
already believed in the dream, but
liberal
this was,
women.
I think, one of the first
Listen,
times
and
they
I'm not
found a
a white.
place full of
I'm not
other
a white
dreamers.
liberal.
We
Okay.
collected this Manhattan Project, if you like, together
But
to solve
now,
AI.
In the
as
first
someone
2
who's
years,
in
we were in total
politics,
stealth mode. And
they
so we
are
couldn't say to
loud.
anyone what
They
we
are
were
loud. They
doing or
show
where we
up.
worked. It was
I
all
might
quite
disagree
vague.
with them.
It had no public presence at all.
110% on
You
how to
couldn't look
get
at a
it,
website. The
but
office was at
they
a secret
are a
location.
wonderful
When we would
signal.
interview
They are
people in those early
wonderful
days, they would show
firecracker
up
to
very
say,
nervously.
here's a problem. I don't
had at least
know
one candidate who
necessarily how to
said,
fix it,
I
but
just
I'm
messaged my
letting
wife to
the
tell her
world
exactly
know
where
in the
I'm
community
going,
how to
just in
fix
case
it.
this turns
Look
out
at
to
the
be some kind of
environment.
horrible scam
Look
and I'm
at
going to get kidnapped.
LGBTQ,
But my
right?
favourite
And
new
I'll just,
person
I'll make
is
it quicker,
who's an
faster.
investor.
Everybody,
Is I've been
we
working
still
on
think
for a
that
year is Elon
LGBTQ, like
Musk.
that's,
So
we're
for those
over
of you who don't
that.
know, that's what he looks
But this
like.
whole thing with
And
Renee
he hadn't
Good,
really thought much
did you
about
guys, did
AI
anybody
until
else
we
notice that
chatted.
one of
His
some of the
mission is
first
to
things all
fly
of a
on
sudden
Mars
it
or
became
something, but
about
not
her
in impact.
lesbian lover? We didn't
So
talk about how Jonathan Ross was a straight
we
guy,
made
right?
some
To
big
somehow
decisions about how we were going to
dehumanize
approach
and
building
try to
AI. This
degrade
is a
her because
reinforcement
she was
learning
a
setup.
lesbian.
This is the
So
kind of
no, it's
setup that
not
we
out of
think
the,
about when we're
it's
building, when we say
we're
we're
not
building,
completely
an AI
healed
agent.
either.
There's
So
basically
these are
the
things
agent,
that
which is
we
the
need to look
AI,
at.
and
We
then
need to
there's
look
the
at the data
environment
points
that
and
it's
we need to
interacting with.
understand
We
what it is.
decided
No
that
human
games,
being
as
is a
long as
problem
you're
on this
very
planet.
disciplined about
If
how
you're
you
a
use
human
them,
being,
are the
especially
perfect training
categorizing them
ground
by a
for
political
AI
ideology,
development.
you're the problem.
We
Thank you.
wanted to try to create one algorithm that
Thank you,
could be
Beamer.
trained up to play
Beaver,
several
did you have
dozen
something you
different
wanted to
Atari
contribute?
games. So just like a human, you have to use
Otherwise,
the
I'm
same
gonna
brain
go
to
back
play
to
all
my
the
queue.
games.
You had
And
asked
think
earlier,
about that
but you
you
didn't come
provide the
up,
agent
so I
with
kind
the
of bumped
cartridge and you say, okay, imagine you're born into that world with that
you. Yeah,
cartridge
no,
and you just
good.
get to interact
Not
with
the
the
mama.
pixels and see
Okay,
the score.
Christian, you are up.
What can you do?
Thank you. So
what you're going to do
earlier,
is stick your Q function in QK.
I just want to
Q learning is one of the oldest methods for reinforcement learning.
The original
And what we did was combine
or let's
reinforcement
say
learning with deep learning within one system.
ideals of feminism.
No one had ever combined those
from
two things together
the
at scale to do anything
independence,
impressive.
the
And we needed to prove
American
out this
Women's
thesis.
Declaration
We
of
tried tried doing Pong as the first game, it seemed like the simplest.
It hasn't been told anything about what it's controlling or what it's supposed to do. All it knows is that score is good, and it has to learn what the its controls do and build everything from first principles.
That it existed, or that some people still say that it exists today. But what is so interesting,
it wasn't really working.
The draft.
I was just saying to like Shane, maybe we're just wrong. And we can't even do Pong.
It was a bit nerve-wracking thinking how far we had to go if we were going to really build a generally intelligent system.
And it felt like it was time to give up and move on.
Use the term
and then suddenly,
let me quote
we got our first point.
Actually
You know, and then was like, is this random?
Because this
No, it's really getting a point now.
explains it all.
It was really exciting that this thing that previously couldn't even figure out how to move a paddle had suddenly been able to totally get it right.
Then it was getting a few points, and then it won its first game, and then 3 months later, no human could beat it. You hadn't told it the rules, how to get the score, nothing. And you just tell it to maximize the score, and it goes away and does it. And this is the first time anyone had done this end-to-end learning.
Okay, so we have this working in quite a general way. Now let's try another game.
So then we try Breakout. Now, at the beginning, after 100 games, the agent is not very good. It's missing the ball most of the time, but it's starting to get the hang of the idea that the bat should go towards the ball. Now, after 300 games, it's about as good as any human can play this. We thought, well, that's pretty cool, but we left the system playing for another 200 games. And it did this amazing thing. It found the optimal strategy was to dig a tunnel around the side and put the ball around the back of the wall.
Finally, the agent is actually achieving what you thought it would achieve. That is a great feeling, right? Like, I mean, when we do research, that is the best we can hope for. We started generalizing to 50 games, and we basically created a recipe. We could just take a game that we have never seen before. We would run the algorithm on that, and the QM could train itself from scratch, achieving human level or sometimes better than human level.
We didn't build it to play any of them. We could just give it a bunch of games and it would figure it out for itself. And that, there was something quite magical in that.
Suddenly you had something that would respond and learn whatever situation it was parachuted into. And that was like a huge breakthrough. It was, in many respects, the first example of any kind of thing you could call a general intelligence.
Although we were a well-funded startup, holding us back was not enough compute power. But I realised that this would accelerate our timescale to AGI massively.
I used to see Demis quite frequently. We'd have lunch, and he did say to me that he had 2 companies that were involved in buying DeepMind, and he didn't know which one to go with. The issue was, would any commercial company appreciate the real importance of the research and give the research time to come to fruition and not be breathing down their neck saying we want some kind of commercial benefit from this?
You're encouraging. I'm still talking.
Google has bought DeepMind for a reported £400 million, making the artificial intelligence firm its largest European acquisition so far. The company was founded by 37-year-old entrepreneur Demis Hassabis.
After the acquisition, I started mentoring and spending time with Demis and just listening to him. And this is a person who fundamentally is a scientist and a natural scientist. He wants science to solve every problem in the world, and he believes it can do so. That's not a normal person you find in a tech company.
We were able to not only join Google, but run independently in London, build our culture, which was optimized for breakthroughs, and not build products, do pure research. Our investors didn't want to sell, but we decided that this was the best thing for the mission. In many senses, we were underselling in terms of value before it more matured and you can sell it for a lot more money. And the reason is because there's no time to waste. There's so many things that got to be cracked while the brain's still in gear, you know, still alive. There's all these things that got to be done. So you haven't got, I mean, how many billions would you trade for another 5 years of life, you know, to do what you set out to do?
Okay, all of a sudden we've got this massive scale compute available to us. What can we do with that?
Getting a job for
Go is the pinnacle of board games.
Is not more valuable.
It's the most complex game ever devised by man.
All right, Dre.
There are more possible board configurations in the game of Go than there are atoms in the universe.
Go is the holy grail of artificial intelligence. For many years, people have looked at this game and they've thought, wow, this is just too hard. Everything we've ever tried in AI, it just falls over when you try the game of Go. And so that's why it feels like a real litmus test of progress.
We had just bought DeepMind. They were working on reinforcement learning, and they were the world's experts in games. And so when they introduced the idea that they could beat the top-level Go players in a game that was thought to be incomputable, I thought, well, that's pretty interesting.
Our ultimate next step is to play the legendary Need to Dog in just over over 2 weeks.
versus a community that has ideas. The one that has
like
kids
no
with
other
no
is
ideas
about
is
to
going to
get
die
underway
sooner
in
than the
South
one that
Korea.
does.
Lee Sedol is getting ready to rumble.
Lee Sedol is probably one of the greatest guys of the last decade.
I don't think there's anything wrong with women working. I think women should have a choice. Women have always worked in America. Women have always worked. During the Great Depression, when men lost their jobs, women made up about 30% of the breadwinners.
All of Korean society, the top Go players. And then we have Demis and a great engineering team.
He's very famous for very creative fighting play. So this could be difficult for us.
Completely gone.
I figured Lee Sedol was going to beat these guys.
Oh wait, are you back, guy?
Good showing.
Am I
Good for a
clear?
startup.
You are now. You weren't. We lost.
I went over to the technical group,
So
and
I'll
they
just
said,
wrap it
let
up
me
so
show you
Alan can
how our
speak, and
algorithm
Happy New Year's,
works.
Alan. I was just saying that women have always worked in America, and I believe that women should have the choice
The way we
to work
start off
or
training
have children.
AlphaGo is
I
by
think that's
showing
their
it
right,
100,000
right?
games.
During the
strong
Great
amateurs
Depression,
have played.
30% of
And
women
we
were
first
breadwinners.
initially get AlphaGo to mimic
Women have
the human
graduated at
player.
a higher rate than
And
men
then
in
through
America for
reinforcement
like the
learning,
last
it plays against
200 years
different
when it
versions
comes to
of
high
itself many
school
millions of times
and 50
and
years when it comes to
learns from its
college.
errors.
I think that's their right.
This is interesting.
I think where the problem lies is that when they make a decision and it doesn't go their way, it's everyone else's
So the
fault.
game starts.
Now we're seeing women quitting their jobs and saying that this is too stressful. I would rather stay at home than pay this much money for childcare. So again, I think all of those are women's rights, but blaming other people for the choices you make is where I draw the line. So I'm not like the other dudes who are like, well, women should do this, women should do that. No, women should do what they want. But understand the decision you make, man or woman, there's consequences
almost unanimously said that not a
that
single
are
human player
attached
would
to
have
it.
chosen
That's
move
where I
37.
don't agree with them.
So
because
I actually had to poke
blame
around in
people
AlphaGo
for
to
why
see
you
what
decide to have
AlphaGo
an abortion
thought.
or why you decide to
And
sleep
AlphaGo
with
actually
15
agreed with
guys.
that assessment.
It's not going to cut it.
AlphaGo said there was a 1 in 10,000 probability that move 37
Okay, Alan,
would have been
you wanna go?
played by a human player.
알파고는 기술은 확률적 계산을 하고 그냥 이기기 위한 그런 머신에 불과하다고 생각을 했었는데 충분히 알파고도 창의적이다.
The game of Go has been studied for thousands of years, and AlphaGo discovered something completely new.
He resigned. Lee Sedol has just resigned.
He's beaten.
The battle between man versus machine. A computer just came out the victor.
Google put its DeepMind team to the test against one of the brightest minds in the world and won.
That's when you realized the DeepMind people knew what they were doing and to pay attention to reinforcement learning as they had invented it. Based on that experience, AlphaGo got better and better and better. And they had a little chart of how much better they were getting. And I said, when does this stop? And Demis said, when we beat the Chinese guy, the top rated player in the world.
A donut-shaped magnet went around. That's literally how they created. So
I think we will see AlphaGo pushing through there.
AlphaGo is ahead quite a bit.
About halfway through the first game, the best player in the world was not doing so well.
What can black do here?
The statistic I point out
Looks difficult.
at the time of the election,
And at a critical moment,
when Barack Obama was elected president, 95% of the country said race was not an issue in terms of the presidency. So
the Chinese government ordered the feed cut off.
The fact that Trump was trolling Barack
It was at that moment we were telling the world that something new had arrived on
is not a
Earth.
metric by which we need to measure whether or not
In the 1950s, when Russia's Sputnik satellite was launched, it changed the course of history.
It is a challenge that America must meet to survive in the space age.
This has been called the Sputnik moment.
The Sputnik moment created a massive reaction in the US in terms of funding for science and engineering, and particularly space technology.
For China, AlphaGo was the wake-up call, the Sputnik moment. It launched an AI space race.
I'm stating this as
We had this huge idea and it worked. And now the whole world knows. It's always easier to land on the moon if someone's already landed there.
She wanted to remove
It is going to matter who builds
from the
AI
family.
and how it gets built.
Why?
I always feel
so that
that pressure.
adults and children could have sexual relationships.
There's been a big chain of events that followed on from all of the excitement of AlphaGo. When we played against Lisa Doll, we actually had a system that had been trained on human data on all of the millions of games that had been played by human experts. We eventually found a new algorithm, a much more elegant approach to the whole system, which actually stripped out all of the human knowledge and just started completely from scratch. And that became a project which we called Alpha Zero.
50 seconds.
Zero meaning having zero human knowledge in the loop.
60.
Instead of learning from human data, it learned from its own games.
The bottom line is this.
So it actually became its own teacher.
When feminism and women's rights first started,
Alpha Zero is an experiment in how little knowledge can we put into these systems, and yet how quickly and how efficiently can they learn.
And the other thing is that
Alpha Zero doesn't have any rules, learn through experience.
and social shame for women.
The next stage was to make it more general, so that it could play any two-player game, things like chess, and in fact any kind of two-player perfect information game.
It's going really well. It's going really well. It's going down fast.
AlphaGo used to take a few months to train, but Alpha Zero could start in the morning playing completely randomly, and then by tea be a superhuman level, and by dinner it would be the strongest chess entity there's ever been.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's discovered its own attacking style, you know, to take on, you know, the current level of defense. I mean, never in my wildest dreams.
I agree, actually. I was not expecting that either. And it's fun from, I think, I mean, it's inspired me to get back into chess again, because it's cool to see that there's even more depth than we thought in chess.
It was false.
Okay. I agree.
Yes.
I actually got into AI through games.
Can I ask?
Initially, it was board games.
Hang on.
I was thinking, how is my brain doing this?
Either of you mind
what is it doing?
Reset.
I was very aware of that.
I would like to
from a
know:
very
is
young
there a
age.
central question that we're answering?
So I've
Because
always
it seems
been
like we are
thinking about
jumping
thinking.
around a lot of topics.
The British and American chess champion
We
meet
are.
to begin a series of matches. Playing alongside them are the cream of Britain and America's youngest players.
Demis Hassabis is representing Britain.
Women are categorically less happy than conservative women.
Aptitude for chess.
Obviously, this topic
By
brings
the
out a
time he
lot of
was
feels
6,
and a lot of people
he
for a lot of
became
different reasons.
London
And so,
underage champion.
you are seeing
My parents
a
were
lot
very
of
interesting
variety
and unusual,
in the
actually.
consensus
I'd
of the
probably
room
describe
and the
them as
opinions
quite
of the
bohemian.
people, but
My
that
father
was
was a
originally where we
singer-songwriter when he was
started.
younger,
Statistically,
and Bob Dylan was his hero.
We've delved into some of the reasons for why that is the case. Oftentimes, studies throughout the last 5 decades have consistently shown that typically women in marriages with families generally
What is
tend
it that
to be
you like about this game?
We've talked about the mental health aspects.
Just a good thinking brain.
Liberal women definitely
At the time, I was the second highest rated chess player in the
more,
world for my age.
mental health
But although I was
diagnoses
on
than
track to be a
conservative women
professional chess player,
by
I thought that was
nearly
what I was going to do.
twice as
No matter
much.
how much I loved the game,
But,
it was incredibly stressful.
We've also
Definitely was not
considered
fun
the
in games for
caveats
me.
that
My
sometimes
parents
maybe
used
is
to,
because
you
it's
know,
part of the
get very
culture.
upset when I lost a game, and you know,
in
angry if I
that
forgot something.
they're more willing to go see a therapist.
because it was quite high stakes for them. You know, it was
conservative
cost a lot of
women
money
to
to
be
go to
more
these
like,
tournaments,
I'm
and my
gonna
parents didn't
pursue
have
and
much
just
money.
do the job. So
My
yeah,
parents
the
thought, you
topic
know,
is
if you're interested in
definitely,
being a chess professional,
it's
this is really
definitely gone
important.
off
It's
on
like
several
your
different little
exams.
tangents. There's a lot of inner dialogues going on
I
between
remember I was about
different
12
stage
years old,
members, but that's why
and
we're
I was
trying
at
to
this
give everybody an
international chess
opportunity.
tournament in Liechtenstein, up in the mountains.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for that. So, again, I would just try to say, let's keep the a little punchier, maybe address one or two
we
of
were
those
in this
ideas,
huge
not
church
all
hall
of those ideas when you have the mic.
with, you know, hundreds of international chess
Who
players.
was next in your queue, sir?
Next in the queue
And I was playing
Big,
the
and then I think
ex-Danish champion.
Kevin jumped in and wanted to go after.
Must have been in his 30s,
I
probably.
like to go afterwards as well, too.
In those days, there was a long time limit. The games could literally last all day. We were into our 10th hour. And we were in this incredibly unusual ending. I think it should be a draw. But he kept on trying to win for hours. Finally, he tried one last cheap trick. All I had to do was give away my queen, then it would be stalemate.
How does he do that?
But I was so tired, I thought it was inevitable I was going to be checkmated.
Dependent upon
and so I resigned. He jumped up, just started laughing. And he went, "Why have you resigned? It's a draw." And he immediately, with a flourish, sort of showed me the drawing move. I felt so sick to my stomach. It made me think the rest of that tournament, it's like, are we wasting our minds? Is this the best use of all this brain power? Everybody's collectively in that building. If you could somehow plug in those 300 brains into a system, you might have solved cancer with that level of brain power. This intuitive feeling came over me that although I love chess, this is not the right thing to spend my whole life on.
Demis and myself, our plan was always to fill DeepMind with some of the most brilliant scientists in the world. So we have the human brains necessary to create an AGI system.
By definition, the G in AGI is about generality. What I imagine is being able to talk to the agent can talk back, and the agent is able to solve novel problems that it hasn't seen before.
That's a really key part of human intelligence, and it's that cognitive breadth and flexibility.
This isn't a problem for the women to solve, and this isn't a problem
for men to solve. The only natural general intelligence we develop as humans, we obviously learn a lot from our environment.
In their relationships.
So we think that simulated environments are one of the ways to create an AGI.
Families with is important. We need
the
to
very
make
early
sure that
humans
whatever your goals are,
having to solve logic problems.
Want
they
your
were having
children
to
raised
solve
by a parent
navigation,
in the
memory,
home,
and
or
we evolved
you
in that
prefer
environment.
to, raise your
If we can
children in a
create a
home where you're
virtual
living
recreation
financially
of that
comfortable and both
kind
parents
of
are working, and
environment,
you're making
that's the perfect
provisions
testing
for
ground and training
childcare in
ground
other
for,
ways. Like
everything we
you
do
just
at
have to be compatible with your partner.
What they were doing here was creating environments for childlike beings, the agents, to exist within and play. That just sounded like the most interesting thing in all the world.
A child learns by tearing things up and throwing food around and getting a response from mummy or daddy. This seems like an important idea to incorporate in the way you train your agent.
The humanoid is supposed to stand up. As his center of gravity rises, it gets more points.
You have a reward, and the agent learns from the reward. Like, you do something well, you get a positive reward. You do something bad, in a way you get a negative reward.
Oh, it looks like it's standing. It's still a bit drunk.
It likes to walk backwards.
Yeah.
The whole algorithm is trying to optimize for receiving as much rewards as possible. And it's found that walking backwards, that's good enough to get very good scores.
When we learn to navigate, when we learn to get around in our world, we don't start with maps. We just start with our own exploration, adventuring off across a park without our parents by our side, or finding our way home from school when we're young. A few of us came up with this idea that if we had an environment where a simulated robot just had to run forward, we could put all sorts of obstacles in its way and see if it could manage to navigate different types of terrain. The idea would be like a parkour challenge.
I mean, I get that,
graceful, but was never trained to hold a glass as it was running and not spill water.
Conservative women who
you set this objective that says just move forward, forward velocity,
put their children in daycare and don't stay home with their children. I have liberal friends who stay home with their kids.
The learning algorithm figures out how to move this complex set of joints.
I think
that's a
just
power
to the point
of reward-based reinforcement learning.
We have to be careful categorizing
Our goal
people
is to try and
lumping them
into
broad blanket categories. Because I have liberal friends that stay home with their children.
Figure out how
so
to solve
I don't think it's
themselves.
a fair assumption to make
now,
that just because a woman is liberal,
can do that.
She doesn't want to prioritize maybe being the primary caretaker of her kids.
A human needs
because
diverse
both
skills
can be
to
true.
interact with the world. How to deal with complex images, how to manipulate thousands of things at once, how to deal with missing information. We think all of these things together are represented by this game called StarCraft.
All it's been trained to do is, given this situation, this screen, what would a human do? We took inspiration from large language models, where you simply train a model to predict the next word.
If you had to guess,
which is exactly the same as predict the next StarCraft move.
Unlike chess or Go, where players take turns to make moves, in StarCraft, there's a continuous flow of decisions. On top of that, you can't even see what the opponent is doing. There is no longer a clear definition of what it means to play the best way. It depends on what your opponent does.
This is the way that we'll get to a much more fluid, more natural,
All right,
faster,
Kevin,
more
I think you
reactive
were going to go
agent.
next, and then Johnny,
This
if
is the
you
huge
want the floor,
challenge,
you're more than
and
welcome.
let's see
We're
how
going to try
far we can
popcorn style
push.
again. Y'all just try to be considerate of the fact that we've got lots of
I'm a
people on
pretty
stage.
low-level amateur.
And keep
I'm
your
okay,
points,
but I'm a pretty
you know,
low-level
to
amateur.
under a minute.
These agents have a long way to go.
We couldn't beat someone of Tim's level. You know, that was a little bit alarming.
At that point, it felt like it was going to be a really big, long challenge, maybe a couple years.
I've had on multiple occasions
Danny is the best DeepMind StarCraft 2 player.
I've been playing the agent every day for a few weeks now.
Insult me.
I could feel out that the agent was getting better really fast.
Wow, we beat Danny. That for me was already like a huge achievement.
So I feel that there's like
The next step is we're going to book in a pro to play.
where if you're so happy you're doing great, so be happy. Why are you confronting and trying to downgrade you're doing great? So I just feel that there is some type of evil, like I said, it's my bias on more than one.
Feels a bit unfair, all you guys against me.
We're way ahead of what I thought we would do, given where we were 2 months ago.
I'm looking at
Just trying to digest it all, actually, but it's very, very cool.
Now we're in a position where we can finally share the work that we've done with the public.
Thank you very much.
This is a big step. We are really putting ourselves on the line here.
Support women's choice when it's in the minority.
We're gonna be live
So
from
like if a
London.
woman decides to be a stay-at-home mother, you get criticized by women who work. If a woman decides to have kids,
we are going to have a live exhibition match. Mana against Alpha Star.
Women's biggest enemy is other women, but they still put that
At this point now,
it's something that Al Bundy said. He said,
10-0
men shouldn't try to understand women. Women understand
Any
women
thoughts
and
before
they
we
hate
get
each other.
into this game, though? I
Look
just
at
want to see
Brooklyn
good game.
with
Yeah, I
Look at Clarissa Shields.
Absolutely good
The
game.
criticism they get is from other women.
Let's see what Mana can pull off.
That's just natural. Once you understand that,
Alpha
you
Star is
just stop
definitely
arguing.
dominating the pace of this game.
Yeah, Kevin, once you understand that.
Wow!
As much as I hate to say it, I think it's exactly right. Women are not very
This
nice
really
to
looks like I'm
women.
watching
We
a
are
professional
our own
human gamer
worst
from the
enemies.
Alpha Star point of view.
Have some amazing male friends because I certainly do, but on the whole,
I haven't really
we're
seen
not
a
good
pro
together.
play StarCraft up close.
Yeah, there's definitely
And the 800 clicks per minute. I don't understand how anyone can even click 800 times, let alone if doing 800 useful clicks.
stay at home. And I've been
Completely relentless.
We need to be careful because many of us grew up as gamers and are gamers, and so to us it's very natural to view games as what they are, which is pure vehicles for fun, and not to see that more militaristic side that the public might see if they looked at this.
You can't look at gunpowder and only make a
you know,
firecracker.
being kind and
All
polite.
technologies inherently
And we'll
point
continue
into
with
certain
popcorn
directions.
I think the
I'm
reason
very
why
worried
men
about
don't like
the certain ways in
feminism
which
is
AI will be used
because
for
it unsettles
military
some men and it
purposes.
asks them to expand beyond entitlement into
And that makes it
responsibility.
even clearer how important it is
And men don't want to
for
grow
our
up.
societies
And,
to be in control
I
of
can easily
these
say
new
that because why
technologies.
is
The potential for
political
abuse
climate
from AI
that's in power
will be
right
significant.
now so obviously
Wars
immature.
that occur faster than humans
and
can comprehend,
it can't be
and
decoupled
more
from
powerful surveillance.
some of their showmanship
How
is
do you
actually
keep
an integral
power
part of their showmanship.
forever over
and
something that's much more
I think
powerful
that there's
than
a
you?
sense of entitlement that men have, and they don't want to change, and they don't want to grow up, and they don't want to have a sense of responsibility. I wanted to respond to what Alan was saying earlier because I've been hearing Alan debating for a while, and I wanted to get at his points. But when you were saying that, like, well, one, you were talking about like some Marxist stuff. I'm not even aware of that. Like you said, pattern recognizer.
Technologies
I'm
can
not
be
defaulting
used to do terrible things.
class-based argument instead of
Technology
race.
can be
What I'm
used
trying
to
to do is
wonderful
identify
things
how
and solve all
society
kinds of problems.
has
when DeepMind was acquired by Google, you
produced
got
these
Google to
socially
promise that technology
constructed,
you develop won't be used by the military.
separated emotional realities
I think
that
technology is
exist
neutral in
for
itself.
women versus black
but
people.
how,
Arguably,
we
black
as a
people have
society
done a
or
lot of
humans
emotional
and
labor for this
companies and
country.
other entities and
Given the
governments
task
decide
of
to
cleaning
use
up
it is what
mess,
determines whether
not
things
only in the
become
slave
good or
master's
bad.
home, but now
I
in like
personally
moral,
think that
moral
having
situations.
autonomous sort of weaponry is just a very bad idea.
What I'm challenging is America's consciousness
is playing an
overall,
extremely
and how
intelligent game right now.
There is an element
to
what's being created at DeepMind in London that
and the
does
only way to have a
seem
conversation
like, the
is
Manhattan
by
Project.
working with those conceptual tools
There's a
that we
relationship
have
between
that are available,
Robert Oppenheimer
even when they're
and
incomplete.
Demis Hassabis,
I need to
in
parse
which
on this.
they're
You're speaking in
unleashing
a lot of
a
overture
new
and
force
generalities
upon
and how
humanity.
Mana's fighting back, though.
Here's the thing, right?
I think that
What do you mean by
Oppenheimer and some of the
feminism
other
versus
leaders of that project got caught up in the excitement of building the technology and seeing if it was possible.
Where is
Okay,
Alpha
so
Star?
feminism
Where's
is,
Alpha Star? Yeah, I don't see
in
Alpha Star's
general,
units anywhere.
This idea that women
They
can
did not
choose,
think
that
carefully
they
enough
can,
about the morals of what they
can
were
determine
doing
for
early
themselves,
enough.
that they have autonomy.
What we should do as scientists
that they're
with
able to
powerful new
decide,
technologies is try and
factors
understand
regarding
it
their
and control
lives,
conditions
around
first.
how they want to have children, what they want to do economically.
Mana has defeated
And a lot of
Alpha Star.
times the argument is that this is disruptive to the family unit, that men have a particular role that they're entitled to that is responsible for their woman and for how their children
I mean, my honest feeling
are
is
raised.
that I think it's a fairer representation of
and
where
it's
we are.
coming from
And I
this
think that part
traditional idea of how
feels
women
okay.
have, how men have
So,
come into society.
well done. My
And as we
view is that
discussed
the
earlier,
approach
it's more
to
so a
building
systemic
technology,
one
which
that's
is
being
embodied by
argued,
move fast and break
from the
things,
standpoint
is
that it's
exactly what we should
biological,
not be doing.
but that's not the case.
Because you can't afford to break things and then fix them afterwards.
Having a family, having a healthy family is not just about having kids, but it's about having kids that can have ideas. And ideas
Are you
are
arriving to the
inherent.
point where you describe how feminism forces men to face
You did.
That's what I said. That's what I said originally.
When I was 8, I bought my
That's
first
what you said,
computer
but you didn't describe
winnings
how
from a
that
chess
works or the
tournament.
through line.
Yeah,
I've
like,
sort of had
I
this
think
intuition that
to me, the
computers are
underlying
this
question
magical
is what you don't
device
think
that can
that
extend
prior
the power
to
of
the
the mind.
feminist movement that
I had a
men
couple
didn't
of
face
school friends. We
responsibility
used to
for
have a
having to
hacking
procure
club,
their households
writing
and take care
code,
of their families.
making games.
I mean, of men, women, and children, men generally.
And then over the
for
summer
as
holidays,
long
I
as
spent the whole
any
day
of us can
flicking
recall,
through games magazines. Then one day I noticed there was a competition
are the
to
one
write an original
person
version
that-
of Space
that
Invaders, and the
aren't
winner
loved
won a job at Bullfrog.
unconditionally. Oftentimes they're chosen
Bullfrog
for
at the
their
time was
ability
the best
to be able
games
to
development
support and
house in
provide.
all of Europe.
I mean, that's
You know,
been
I really wanted to
categorically
work at
true
this
throughout
place and
history.
see
So I
how
think
they
that
built games.
saying that it forces them to be responsible
Bullfrog,
is
based here
kind
in
of a
Guildford,
misnomer.
began
Men
with
were,
a big
they
idea.
were already having to
That
take on
idea
that
turned into the game
responsibility.
Populous, which became a
Yeah.
global bestseller.
But
In
yes,
the
they-
90s,
I mean,
there was no
responsibility for men,
recruitment
it extends
agencies. You couldn't
beyond,
go out
like,
and say, oh,
providing
you
or
know,
leading within a
come and
household.
work in the games
Like, it includes
industry.
having emotional
It was
literacy,
still not even
being
considered
able
an
to
industry.
recognize, to being
So
able
we
to
came up with the
regulate
idea to
themselves,
have a competition,
taking ownership
and
for
we
their
got
own
a
inner
lot of
life,
applicants.
and rather than
And one of
outsourcing it,
those
because when
was
they
a Demis.
outsource it, you're going to
But I
get
can
in
still
trouble.
remember
What the hell are you
clearly
talking about?
the day
You're
that
just
Demis
all
came in.
overture.
He
No
walked in the
specifics,
door.
a bunch
We
of
looked about
postmodern
12.
bullshit. Are you kidding?
Can I finish
Oh
my
my
point?
God,
If
what
you
the
don't
hell?
You're not
understand my
making a
point,
point.
Guy.
I applied to Cambridge.
No, and
I got
where do
in,
you
but they
get
said I was
your-
way too
excuse
young.
me, where do you
So
get this,
I needed to
that
take a year off, so
children
I'd be
are
at least
supposed to be
17 before I
raised
got there.
to have
And that's when I
ideas?
decided to spend that entire
First of
gap
all,
year
who are you
working
to
in
tell the
Bullfrog.
parents
They couldn't
what
even
their
legally
goal
employ
in
me, so I ended
raising
up being paid
children
in brown
are,
paper envelopes.
And then why? And then what is
I
your-
got a feeling
they're
of being
supposed to
really
have
at the
Wait a
cutting
minute.
edge
We don't
and
want
how
our
much
children to have
fun that
ideas
was
now?
to
Hold on
invent
now.
things
Well,
every day.
but is that
And then, a few months
supposed to
later,
be the goal?
maybe a
What-
million
yeah.
people
What
will be playing it.
ideas are they
In
supposed
those
to
days,
have?
computer games had to evolve. There had to be new genres which were more than just shooting things. Wouldn't it be amazing to have a game where you design and build your own theme park?
You know, I mean, that both the arrogance and I don't know.
Deborah and I started to talk about theme park. It allows the player to
Well, here's the
build
thing.
a
Like,
world and see the
well,
consequences
here's the thing,
of
because
your
it's like,
choices
I don't need,
in that world.
I don't need a bunch of people
The
all
human
coming
player
off the
set out
mic
the layout
and
of the
then
theme
like
park
trying
and
to.
designed the roller coaster.
I just wanted to
set
know
the
if you could
prices in the chip shop.
specifically
What I was
engage with
working
what
on
I
was the
said
behaviours of the people.
in 2 sentences.
They were autonomous.
You said
And that was the
feminism
AI in this
forces men
case.
to face
So
responsibility.
what I was trying to do
Can you
was
describe
mimic
in
interesting
specifics,
human behaviour,
again,
so that the simulation would be more
specifically,
interesting to interact with.
what do you mean by that in
Demis
specifics
worked on
in 2
ridiculous
sentences?
things like you could
Or are you just
place
gonna
down
talk
these
about a bunch of,
shops,
like,
and if you
overtures
put
in
a
the
shop
60s
too
and
near a
derisive,
very dangerous ride, then people on the ride would throw up because they'd just eaten.
And then that would make other people throw up when
What
they
were
saw
one of those?
the
What were one of
throwing
those
up on the
specific
floor.
examples?
So you then had to
He
have
didn't give any
lots of
example.
sweepers
I
to
did.
quickly
I
sweep
said.
it up before other people saw it.
No,
That's
no,
the
Johnny,
cool thing
maybe you
about
can
it.
help me out.
You
What are
as
one
the
of the
player
I said.
specific
I
tinker with
just
it,
said
and then
it.
it reacts to you.
He's gonna say
All
what I
those
just said.
new
Okay, let us say it then.
simulation
I wanna
things
hear
he
it.
did, and that was an invention which never really existed before. It was unbelievably successful.
Theme Park actually turned out to be a top 10 title. And that was the first time we were starting to see how AI could
It's
make a
not really
difference.
specific. It's an idea.
Very specific.
We were doing this
Also,
as Christmas
the
shopping
license-
from work, waiting for the taxi to take us
if
home.
men, this is the thing, right?
I have
To
this
be
very clear
emotionally
memory of
intelligent
Demis
also
talking
involves
about
thinking
AI
about
in a
people
very
outside
different way,
yourself.
in a way
So
that
if a
we
gender
didn't commonly
says that
talk
I
about.
am
This idea
scared to
of
open up to my
AI being
wife
useful for
because they're going to throw
other
it
things
back at
other
me,
than
how can you
entertainment.
then
So
say
being
that the men
useful
are not the
for
ones that are emotionally
helping the
intelligent?
world
I don't
and the
understand this
potential of
nonsense
AI
of
to change the
before,
world.
I just said to Dennis,
feminism,
what is it you
men
want to
didn't
do?
have
That sounds very
And he said,
responsibility.
toxic.
Before again, but this is what most men.
bad narrative, bro.
It's a bad narrative because
That
if
sounds
you're
very. Okay,
emotionally
here's the thing,
intelligent,
right?
wait a minute, Chris.
Sounds
Chris,
like you're being
for you to
challenged,
be
right?
emotionally intelligent, all right, involve that if someone shares something with you, you don't throw it back in their face. That's part of emotional
Yeah,
intelligence.
the woman has to
And
be
Most men
Johnny, the
will
emotionally
tell
question
you,
was
intelligent
how,
too.
I
not
got
what.
you. You're not being emotionally intelligent right now. Most men will tell you that they are scared to open up to their wives because their wives will throw it back in their face, which means that the woman herself is not emotionally intelligent. This thing that we
Yeah,
keep trying to
that's
push it
fair.
onto men, it's annoying. And this
It's not
thing of,
pushing,
oh,
it's equal
men didn't,
burden.
yes, it is. I got you, Johnny. And when you speak, I'm going to let you land. This thing of men have to take more roles or more responsibility as if they didn't have that challenge 60, 70 years ago. It's ridiculous as well. If we're pushing for equality, that means we also have to push for equality on the men's role and the women's role. It's not just, well, we want to be equal, we want to get paid the same, but the men have to pay all the bills and the men have to be all this responsibility and then some. That's not how that works. If you're pushing for equality, that means you have to push for equality in your roles and the man's roles across the board.
Yeah, that's, I mean, it sounds like your lived experiences are informing this a little bit, which is fine. But the idea is like you said, equal share of the burden. So how much people are able to do that at successful in a relationship is up to them individually.
Vero?
I think in this aspect of thinking that somehow women carry more of the emotional load. I just think I think sometimes men complain enough, and I think women complain a lot, and they think that men don't deal with the same thing. But see, let me tell you something. That's me being emotionally mature, right? My lady can call me and dump everything she did in her day on me, and I could take it with ease and give her guidance. I can never do that. Her shoulders aren't built for that. I know it. I know if I'm out here panicking about some shit and I call it with her, she's gonna panic. She's panicking, she calls it with me. I'm gonna be like, hey, do X, Y, and Z. That's just how this works. I was in a room not long ago and the lady was talking about my man needs to do more emotional. It's not that you do more emotional labor. It's just that you deal with more emotions as an individual and he doesn't. So he's not going to deal with much emotional quote unquote label. I'm sorry, labor because that's not who he is biologically. You're going to deal with it. It's not that you're doing more work for the relationship. It's just that you're doing more emotional labor for yourself as an individual. He's not going to do it. You're not a woman that isn't built to carry that weight. So it's always going to feel, women are always going to feel like they're carrying more of the emotional labor just because she's dealing with more emotion as an individual. I guarantee you, if we if we have 15 couples and we ask who dumps on who more emotionally, the women are gonna admit it's them 9 times out of 10. That's how it works. You're not doing more work. I think the whole talk about feminism holding men accountable or men more responsible, like we gotta. It's like it sounds good, but when the brother asks you to kind of explain to be specific, it got very general, right? It got very general. It makes like there's no way that men can hide from responsibility in this world. That's just how it works. That's just not how it works. I think sometimes the push a lot of men have on feminism is that it allows women an out for all bad behavior. And that's usually what we look at it as. Like, it allows you to be free of any accountability now. Oh, I'm gonna do what I want to do. I want the acumens and the accomplishments and the bragging rights and all the respect of him as a man, but for the accountability, hold that shit because I'm still a woman. And I think that's where we run into it. I don't know any family man that is clear of responsibility of any. And when the part about family being entitled to the family and listen, our family, but it's a lot of pressure being the head of the household. That's not an easy task at all. It's nothing about that. It's something that you just feel entitled to, that I can just go up and snatch and it be mine and I can walk away with it. It comes with a lot. I think we got to meet halfway with it. I get the origins of feminism, but in our community, it's kind of shaky. It's always kind of been BS in our community. I'm black. It's kind of BS in our community. Let's be real. That's why I want to just while I land this, I want to kind of push it back to the title. This is a white woman's thing. In the black community, there is no hierarchy where the black man just have so much say where the woman can't say shit. That's not how it works. And that's kind of the matriarch is kind of an issue because you have women in the household and you're not supposed to be there. Kind of what fucked it up. But again though, I want to push this back to the title. White liberal woman shit. That's not shit that goes on in our community. Feminism doesn't help us at all. It fucks us up. It adds to the 1,000 problems we already fucking have.
I wanted to respond to, I think, what Christian said about, like, if a man tries to speak to his woman, she's going to throw it back in his face. If you're in any relationship or even working in business, right? If a man cannot speak his truth without fear, that's not peace. That's suppression. And a lot of times men feel like they have to do that in order to work this job or in order to not get kicked out of the group, or the same thing in their relationship. And a relationship that requires silence to feel safe is not safe at all. The problem is there's this not there when we talk about bravery and courage and doing what you do to be a man, it often exclude doing what's best for you, because what's best for you is what's best for everybody. So if you realize you need to grow in a particular type of way, if your friends or the person that you're with or the job that you're working does not value what you have to say, that's not an environment that's going to nurture your growth. Now if you feel like you have to diminish yourself to fit within that, then just be prepared for what all those other symptoms are going to look like. Because if you don't cry out in one way, you're still going to cry out in another way.
He was quoted.
I thought it was you. Yeah, it was to that whoever said.
I think a lot of people haven't been in a long-term relationship and they don't understand what you're saying about. Let me reinterpret what you said, Chris, because you are on one hand, you're right. You should not be, if you're in a relationship and you're not being heard. I'm trying to paraphrase what you said. I'm not trying to change what you said. But if you're not being heard, if you don't feel like it's safe to be heard, whether you're a man or a woman, that's an issue and that's something that should be addressed. Yes, I agree. In reality, once you're in a relationship and then once you have kids, what do you do if your authentic self says that your children should be vaccinated and your wife says the children should not be vaccinated? The both of you love your children extremely much, to the point where you would die rather than let your own child, any harm come to your child. And now you have someone who you recognize cares about your child just as much as you do, and yet you have this disagreement. It has nothing to do. Where do you go from that?
Likes and dislikes.
In my dreams.
Aw.
I think he is. Actually, I did have a dream about him way, way long ago, and he wasn't like the main subject of the dream. He was just like a weird little like side quest I was on, and we were on this boat. His parents have a yacht, apparently, by the way, or they have some boat thing, or they did at some point.
Nice.
So we're on there. It's his. He invited me on there, and I'm on there. And then when I get on there, he's like so mean and rude. And then I was like, all right, I'm off this boat. Fuck this. I didn't come here to get belittled by a
Wow.
David Bobadilla. And then I didn't see him again in my dream. So that was it.
Well, he lost his chance in your dreams.
Weird dream. Nightmare.
It was a nightmare. I was stressed out.
So Buttercup?
Does he know that you dream about him? Yes, come on.
Buttercup, he still wants
Can you check your IMs?
Oh, he just asked me. He gave me his number. Should I read it out loud? Kamal or no?
No.
Okay. And then he says, "Can we date?" That's so nice.
Oh.
I'm so touched.
Oh, Buttercup, at least.
Aww. Aw, that's so sweet.
Your voice is that kind of thing. Oh my god! But you know what? Come on, Buttercup is in love with me though.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we're lesbians.
True. You've been sending me a lot of dirt, Caitlin.
I know. Let's just keep it that way.
Okay.
Oh my god! Yeah, I did send you Yarel's titty pictures.
Why did you send me that? That's so mean.
Because
I saw it when more came out. People sent me a screenshot of it, but I didn't see all the videos. Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
I sent it to Alpha too, but I got it from.
I saw a lot more.
I got it from Prince. I got it from Prince because I guess he had a follow with her. He's just exposing her. I don't fuck with her either, so I'm like, okay, I might as well send it to Buttercup. She doesn't fuck with him. Her.
I know, but I don't.